It's the night shift. Party continues, and we just saw the four men get mopped. Well, some self-inflicted wounds remove them from the competition, but DDK, that means we get a treat, and that is more Ido time, and he's not having to play Lash. It seems like he's having more fun tonight.
Yeah, you got to play the classic Pocket, which is really cool to see. I think, he got some good afflictions off as well. We didn't get to see Ido dominate the game, but we got to see him do his job. And I think, Pocket Pocket's one of those heroes that has had a lot of nerfs over time. It's not the same Pocket as it was back in the day, but still, you hit those afflictions, we get to see it on our new fancy UI. It makes a huge difference.
Jake, I heard out in California you've been working on pottery. So other than your Rem statue and lamp, what have you been working on?
I've just been spamming Bebop, honestly. Don't let any of the rumors fool you. I have been hard abusing Gun Bop, so I'm excited to see, Psyop showing what the character can do here in the night shift. And I will say, it's great to see Ido on the Pocket. I do wonder if Pocket won't get some more changes. I just feel like Pocket's a weird hero right now where you're ultimately just an affliction bot. Realistically, in the late game, your purpose is to apply affliction on as many players as possible and not be dead. And
you're like a damage door man?
Yeah, the ultimate is so strong, right? Turning off all healing is such a ridiculously powerful tool. If you do that on, 4 or 5 players, it's almost like you can't fight anymore into that. And so the enemy team's just playing whack-a-mole, trying to kill you, using every single skill to just stay alive and press an affliction on the enemy team. So I don't know. I kind of miss the old Pocket of being able to blow people up with your other skills, but by the same token, maybe I don't miss just dying from a guy that can teleport.
For those who missed those days, what was the original lore of Pocket before he was this frogman with a suitcase?
No, he just originally the affliction was just it didn't have the hard anti-heal effect, right? So it wasn't, I think, as crucial to the character because affliction is going to do a lot of damage, but you can do damage with other skills too, and you can kind of build items you build the Spear Burn and the Tank Buster and kind of go for more of that. But right now with just turning off global healing is an incredibly powerful thing to do. When the enemy carrier relies on lifesteal, when the Rem is a huge part of his kit is healing people and sustaining them, a lot of your strategy just essentially doesn't work if Pocket hits that huge affliction on you.
Are there any characters that are insta-bans this week? 2 weeks ago, Mirage did not see the light of day. He was the first ban from the start of the show to the end of the show. DDK, is there anything that you think will not make it through for NA tonight?
I do feel like Infernus is one of those for sure. I don't know that anything's so crazy right now that there's high value stuff, but I don't know that anything's super crazy. I think Infernus, Mirage are the M1s that maybe come to mind, like you say, but I actually feel like you get maybe a little bit more value from understanding the other hero pool that you're up against and trying to ban out certain players and try to make sure that John maybe he doesn't get the Vanessa, for example. Maybe you should make sure that doesn't happen.
I think for all the unicorn princesses of the world, like my daughter behind me, she wants to know, is the sparkly lady going to be played? Because Celeste was banned out previously, wasn't even banned out the second half of last week's show, all of this show until the final, and then she's played in the EU final and she puts up record numbers on Rake. So is Celeste still a good character or just in Rake's hands? What's the situation?
EU made it look really strong and she was, I believe, completely ignored in that last draft, not banned, not picked. So pretty surprising for me because Celeste was, after those new heroes dropped, was really one of the true top tier. I remember the first few weeks she never got played because she was literally perma first ban. She's been nerfed a little bit since then, but Rake showing that you can have a big game like that, I certainly put some more questions in my mind as far as why she was ignored. Maybe both teams felt hey, we can get that kind of spirit damage from other sources, whether it's the Pocket or the Shiv, and look for a different style of game overall. I would be surprised if she gets ignored completely through the day. Although now that I'm saying that, I wonder, is FPS Lounge going to be the team that wants to take a Celeste? What's the scenario where Celeste is going to be the perfect hero for you? Still, I'm not exactly sure on that. For FPS Lounge, though, this is going to be their first time defending as champion here in the night shift, holding on to a title they've only had for 1 week, but it's one that, a lot of the OG members of the squad have held for much longer back in that Hydronation era.
And as we take a look at the roster, I know Hydration. He is one of the longest standing pro players in North America. Snakes, though, is a guy who was kind of off my radar, had a terrible first outing on the night shift, and then last week totally bounced back. So DDK, as you're looking through the rest of the roster, what do you think of when you see these names?
Yeah, I mean, one thing obviously that's got to be called out from how it performed last week is Erebus's Bebop. That was like the beginning of the reign of terror of Bebop. Erebus really put that to test, and in terms of like the other players on the roster, Lefa, someone that had played originally a lot with the original Hydra Nation roster and was like this insanely strong mechanical player, often credited to be the highest skilled mechanical player in the region. So very well suited to playing those M1 roles as well. And seeing Lefa on an Infernus, for example, used to be very, very just like a heinous crime if you ever let it happen. Snakes, you might see Snakes, playing like something like, is he playing Apollo for them? I know he plays Billy as well.
So, yeah, I think he did play a game on Apollo. Yep. I mean, I just want to see him on something where he can push the pace and be like up in your face, aggroing you, going for kills constantly. I think that's where he looks at his strongest as a player. And also, I think that almost embodies the style for FPS Lounge, right? They all play aggressive. And when they're doing it simultaneously across the map, it can be oppressive. It can kind of dominate you, keep you permanently on the back foot. Melee Creeps, though, are certainly the veteran squad, and so I don't think that, I don't expect them to sort of fall flat under that kind of pressure. They have to know it's coming based on the way FPS Lounge have been playing these last few weeks.
All eyes on Saya after his performance on the Bebop. The question is, who will get the Bebop between him and the man who put Bebop on the map last week? Erebus took home our MVP performance for the NA Finals this week. If it's a Melee Creep member, who do you think has the best odds? Do is looking pretty good on that Infernus. Let's go to DDK first. Sorry, that was an open-ended to two people off camera. That's tough.
I don't want to take it. Yeah, I think like he was getting the Infernus. Yeah, I think as we saw before, like the priority on this team, John gets the hyper carry roles, and Dude's going to be getting sort of like more of the off carry. And Infernus is really well suited to that. I think like you were talking about with regards to like the dash build, because you don't have to be as high economy and have like insane output. So I think that's one of the reasons why that's particularly scary. And I think I would really hate to see Venator get onto John and you give Infernus away or Mirage away to Melee Creeps. I think that would be a pretty bad situation to be in.
Yeah, I look at this team and I think, there's actually going to be some pretty contested heroes. I think Bebop and Infernus are kind of the two I'd call out first, where I think both teams are actually really going to want both heroes. The fact that Melee Creeps put up a great match in the Challenger match with Saya means they're going to probably think about contesting it. And Infernus has been going first three for the last few weeks here in North America. So whether it's Lefa or Do, I think both look super comfortable on the role. And I think it's kind of like the premier hero at the moment for that choice. So I wonder if, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see Infernus going in like the first 3 picks of the draft.
He's going to be spicy. I think he's either getting banned out or, like Jake said, he is going to be prioritized. Do we see a player or a character like Mina, where OCs was just able to take over for EU if he gets his guy, gets his character? DDK, thoughts for either side in this fight?
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely possible. I think it's, for Ido, for example, on Melee Creeps, Ido can be an absolute terror on a Mina pick. So I don't think it's going to be foreign for either side. I'm curious for FPS Lounge if it's in their kind of approach as much. I think maybe a little bit less is what I want to say. But the opening silver band coming out from FPS Lounge is how they want to start things off. And Mirage away from Melee Creeps. Okay, so you got Venator open. Will FPS Lounge take it away from Melee Creeps?
I expect actually, Dan, that they won't. They've honestly not generally prioritized Rokane's heroes. But in fairness, he looks great on the Warden, so I don't think you're that worried about Rokane getting necessarily the premier pick. As I say that, completely wrong. They do. They want to give Rokane the best carry of the patch, and maybe also taking it away from John.
I agree.
It just looks too attractive.
Do you think that's just like hey, you banned out my Mirage, go screw yourself, I'm taking your Ven?
I think Venator, everybody wants Venator right now. Like every team, I think, will always pick Venator if given the option. Understood. And so he really has felt like that pretty consistent first pick hero. Melee Creeps
Sinclair.
Hydration didn't get Dynamo. Crazy. And honestly, I think that is FPS Lounge's greatest strength, is hydration when he's on Dynamo specific.
All right, he can't play Dynamo this game, but he could play Sinclair. And actually, I think this is a great time to pick Sinclair. I think both Apollo and Dynamo are insane ults to steal. And I think if you don't pick Sinclair now, I think it gets banned out in the mid stage. That being said, last game, I'm also really surprised we didn't see a Sinclair. So many good ults to take. Getting the Infernus though for Lefa, also ultra high prio. So no complaints for me on FPS Lounge getting Lefa on his best.
Yeah, I'm super curious here. I agree, Sinclair. Like we saw this, right? The lessons were there on the weekend. We saw it NA versus EU, like playing against the different metas, and they just still don't value the Sinclair highly enough.
Well, Melee Creeps didn't ban it out last draft, so I feel like FPS Lounge also might be sort of gambling and greeding and saying, hey, maybe we can get it like really late in the draft, because for Melee Creeps, they really don't want to pick Sinclair. I think it would be super awkward. They pretty much just want to, maybe they want to ban it out here, but if they don't, I think FPS Lounge could grab it in the absolute 12th pick slot.
Stallman, I'm putting my life savings on the FPS Lounge here for the first game. I love you, Viper. You don't belong in this fight against a Venator, Infernus. Shiv, if you can, take me away. DDK and Jake, use your big brains to explain what Melee Creeps are trying to do.
The Viper
terrible draft.
Is really interesting to me because I have been seeing a lot more gun carry Viper in high rank, and I'm on the one hand, it's in the past it's sort of never worked in competitive play because you just get stunned and controlled, and you just can't get the slides going. This sort of just isn't quite realistic enough to make the foundational element of the hero work. But maybe this will be sort of like that semi-carry Viper style where the team isn't 100% relying on you to carry the game. You can still hit that ultra late game spike, but maybe with some more sort of room to side lane on it. Definitely an odd one now for Melee Creeps. Both Viper and Apollo were banned from them last game, though, and maybe we'll get to see why if that's been something that's worked really well for them in scrims.
That's a good point. And something else I wanted to mention is that Kelvin's not really received any attention so far, and I wonder if there's going to be the same story here as well. Shiv, Billy, and Furnace Venator. That, it is a really strong. It's a strong front line. It's a strong carry game. They're maybe missing, like pick and support potentially. You could say if you wanted to look at it in a basic way. So I'm curious if we'll get to Sinclair here, or if okay. So gonna get Paradox. So Sinclair is still possible in that last picking spot, but Paradox, a return to Paradox. We haven't seen Paradox really played in quite some time.
Gives you a nice way to punish the Bebop, right? When he goes up and he looks for his hooks, he is actually really vulnerable to getting initiated on at that moment when he's most exposed and most aggressive. Melee Creeps do grab the Geist for John. Certainly going to feel less prioritized. Bucket is ready to wrap this one. Let's see the Geist in the draft.
27 minutes. Wrap it up.
Not a Geist enjoyer on Bucket. Yamato is going to be the finisher for Melee Creeps. An odd draft, frankly, Dan, for Melee Creeps. Like, a lot of spirit nuking, a lot of tempo. I kind of am with Bucket, though. I don't know that I fully see the vision of this draft the way I saw it in the last game, where it was like, okay, you have the team fight of all time, every dominating team fight and I kind of like the Kelvin, even with Dynamo being able to potentially pull people out with the Quantum. I could also just see people isolated in with an Infernus, a Shiv, a Venator ability. Like pretty much any of the four primary cores for FPS Lounge get locked in the Frozen Shelter with Melee Creeps, and whoever's in there for Melee Creeps is dead. Like, you cannot fight these heroes inside the Frozen Shelter.
Yeah, I love the cat suits, but DDK, the coach here, he's either got to be ahead of the meta or under the influence, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna find out like if there's any method to the madness here, but yeah, I think like Jake said, there's a lot of just burst in this team, a lot of burst, interesting catch as well. Between the Bebop and Dynamo potentially as well. So I'm really curious how it's going to play out, because they're definitely good heroes, right? So it's the synergies that we're wondering about, the play style. If you would prefer FPS Lounge on the objective play, then you'd need to see Melee Creeps, winning more of the tempo roam split pushing type of game, where they're not, they're getting the leverage point is when they're not grouped up in these big team fights. So that's gonna be one of the interesting things. But then with that said, a Dynamo all in the right place at the right time can always be game changing. So
I like Bebop. I want him to win. I want Bebop to get the upset here, but I look at Venator, Infernus, Shiv, Billy as a start, and then you give them Kelvin with their 6th pick. I feel like mistakes were made along the way.
Yeah, this is a rare spot where I kind of feel like the other team actually got a better draft than Melee Creeps, which is rarely a place that I'll criticize Melee Creeps, because I think they're one of the best from a drafting perspective in the region. We'll see about how this Viper and Apollo. I think a lot of the draft really hinges on the success of those two picks in particular, right? They were both banned in the last game. I think maybe, that's something coming from scrims. Floormen were like, we're not going to give you those characters. And here's the opportunity to show why. If they can have the sort of crazy pop-off, take over the game style performances, you can absolutely just blow up a game and kind of snowball it out of control with those picks. However, a lot relies on you getting off to that kind of hot start. I don't think we're going to see that same style of game where you can slow things down and just get later into the game. And then, hey, enough items come online and you're going to be really strong. Honestly, I kind of like FPS Lounge the deeper we get down the stretch. And so for melee creeps, a little bit more pressure on them to show they can keep pace in an early game and put up some strong lanes.
Ranger is on something. It could be on a new scent, DDK. Did he sniff out the new meta? Is Viper the new game? Are the enjoyers going to be spamming my chat? I don't know. I'm excited to find out. I hope the players are excited to find out. Do you think we're any closer? Normally ZP is like sitting in Jake's spot and I can read his face. Like if he's panicked, I know I have to fill for like 3 to 7 more minutes. If he's like all smiley, it means like, hey, I want to chat because the game's about to kick off. It's like, all right. I bet we're nowhere close because
we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting the team set up. I mean, the stakes, I will say, for these last few weeks and the next few weeks as well are higher than they've ever been here. So we got, some of our biggest prize pools ever. And I mean, it's a great moment, of course, to talk about the reason why we can deliver the biggest historical prize pools here for Night Shift. It's because of our sponsor, Shopify. Shopify has done huge stuff here for allowing us to take things to the next level. They can also do that for you and your business. It's one of the best ways to build a business online. I mean, frankly, makes it as easy as it possibly can be, helping you, holding your hand every step of the way. They got Sidekick integrated in. If there's aspects of it that you don't understand, that's true for everybody. That's true for me, when you're building a business. Of course, they all have those tools inbuilt into the Shopify ecosystem ready to help you. So it's never been easier to build your business. You can do it with Shopify. Links in the chat, in panels below the stream, or you can just go to shopify.com/DL Night Shift. So a lot of love to Shopify for us, and of course the Sidekick product for you guys to be able to help you out build your business. Check out the link. Really helps us out, really helps Shopify out, and just see what they're about. I mean, no commitment required.
I am like getting blasted with pollen over here in a basement somehow. As we get this game kicked off, DDK, I am excited to see what we're going to find out from the melee creeps. If there is a star character on this lineup, are you building around the Bebop poles? Are you looking for some Yamato super plays? Like, who is supposed to be the star? Because I know Dynamo has a pretty nasty ult, but it takes a while for that to come online. I
mean, you can definitely have some really strong early lanes. Just put like whatever lane you want to be really good. Just put Apollo in there with like. I mean, Apollo is one of the best early laners because of the burst damage potential is insane, and so you stick that with the Yamato. That's pretty disgusting. With Geist, that's pretty great. Like Bebop as well. I mean, honestly, you can make a lot of really crazy lanes with Apollo, and there's lots of good setup here. I think for melee crew. So I think they can have definitely good early lanes. And the thing I'm really curious about in this game is how impactful Paradox is going to be. I like your call out there, Jake. We haven't really seen as much Paradox, but I do kind of agree. Like, the catch potential, swapping through the wall and getting silenced and slowed. It's and especially with slowing bullets because of the nature of the gun as well. Like, you can like really lock somebody down with Paradox. And given that Viper, that's like you said, we didn't see the gun Viper because it's too easy to lock Viper down. So I'm super curious to see what answers melee creeps will have to keep the Viper alive and effective in the fights.
Yeah, I also wonder sort of what's the vibe for the melee creeps in terms of looking at this matchup, because I believe that they didn't even match up, right? Or in the last time these two teams played, or at least it wasn't in the money match previously. And so for FPS Lounge, now they're the team waiting here defending as champ. Is this melee creeps kind of going for a little bit of a wilder draft, maybe feeling some of the pressure that like, hey, we have to change something up to get this win? Or is this just full confidence, like they just really believe in the Viper Apollo strat? We'll have to see. I think how this game pans out is going to be a bit of a bellwether for it, for me as well. Also, I'm always getting excited to see someone like Ido on the Apollo. I mean, I think, again, this character really fits the mold for him of a lot of damage and carry potential, but always wrapped in that movement first package where you can be in and out all over the map, pulling attention to yourself, slipping away. Apollo, absolutely terrifying when it comes to a player like Ido's movement. Can you put Apollo
and Viper in a squirmy lane together? Is that a thing, or do you want them on opposite sides of the map causing chaos? Like, I've never had an Apollo and a Viper in my same game, so I'm just kind of wondering how this is supposed to happen.
I could see that lane being pretty sick because Apollo has so much spirit burst to like open up, put some big damage on you, and then Viper with that lethal poison does more damage the lower HP you are. So I could see that lane actually being kind of terrifying. Like imagine being bola shot into the Atali Losan, into like all the spell follow-up. Like there's just insane spirit burst, and in the first 15 minutes of the game, you basically can't deal with that. Like there's no items until you get like much later and much tankier where you can survive that kind of burst, getting saved by your allies. There's not, for me, much you're going to be able to do in the laning phase against those heroes other than just try to fight back and kill them first. But tall order against Apollo in particular.
All right, Solomon, real talk. It's been 15 minutes. He's been asking for an apple. I got to go upstairs. Can you take a 2-box or throw to a commercial break? I love the players, but you can't take this long. We got things to do, people to feed.
We've got small, we all have small children to feed, and I hope FPS Lounge is and Melee Creeps are feeling it. I hope they're getting ready, you know, soon moment. We've been hearing we're waiting just on one player. So there's, you know what, honestly, between these two teams, there is a legacy of some match delays. I feel like they built, like, I'm not, between these two squads, I shouldn't be surprised.
Production, who is the player? Can we get a name to the player?
Can we out them publicly?
We're going
public
that far.
shaming.
We're gonna call somebody out.
We have to get some public shaming. It's the only weapon we have, frankly, to try to mitigate
well, the name said by production was Lefa. So you can lay this at the feet of Lefa. It is not Ido, so it's part exculpatory for Ido. Instead, just directed towards Lefa, who actually, you go further enough into the past, Lefa was a notorious game delayer at one point.
Guys, we can only say so much about these drafts, so we absolutely will begin to publicly shame you when we run out of ideas of things to say about the draft.
Well, ZP, what do you think about the draft?
Well, I'll say I'm just going to go in Lightbringer direction and publicly shame NA. Lightbringer is losing his mind at the lack of Sinclair. Look at this draft from both sides. Is Sinclair banned? No. Is Sinclair picked? No. This is a hero that's been top pick in every EU draft for the last week. And NA just looks at Sinclair and is like, no, I don't think we will. I think Lightbringer is absolutely right to maul about because I'm also mauling about the lack of Sinclair. The hero is really good right now. Get together, North America.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was referencing the tournament we had over the weekend, ZP, where I was like EU and NA literally playing in the same tournament. And so you think that there would be, you know, some, at least maybe they would run it in some of the scrims between then and now. Yeah, test it out. You know, why is EU picking, like second picking Sinclair?
Yeah, I do think, especially when you could, in NA, you could easily be grabbing it in like the 12th slot. You're not going to have to pay a high prio pick to get it. Would make more sense. I mean, the last game, I agree. Frankly, criminal. There wasn't a Sinclair in that challenger match because Melee Creeps gave like every single premier ult in the entire game is like on their team.
That's so true.
You pretty much can't get a steal on Sinclair that isn't going to be really good in that particular draft. And this game, though, I think it's, you know, I think it's actually more understandable. Not necessarily. Like, I don't mind the Kelvin, basically, right? Like, it's either Kelvin or Sinclair. Ultimately, that's sort of the role you're choosing. And I don't completely hate the Kelvin. I think it's less about countering the other team. It's more like, hey, what is really good for my draft? And when you've got the Infernus, the Venator, they love to be able to get heals and sustain and slows on the enemy players. So I think this draft does come together really nicely in the end for FPS Launch. I think they have a little bit of everything. It's very well balanced. Melee Creeps go a little bit off the reservation. We're gonna have to see how it pans out if they can play that kind of explosive tempo game that the draft is signaling they want to.
I totally agree. Kelvin is a nice pickup.
Beautiful camera pan here, dropping down on the mid lane. Big fan of this one.
Yeah, especially as we swing past the Shopify banner there on the way down. And now we are in the action with a buy there, the restorative purchase from John. A Geist John carry. We haven't seen one of those in a while, but when John's playing basically anything, you know he's going to be the highest economy player on the server. So it's going to be very important mid lane for him to stay stable in and to really, hopefully for him, keep that mid Guardian up. Because if you can do that, it really does have a massive impact on your farming efficiency going into that exiting the early lane. So see if he can do it. He's up against the Paradox and also the Venator. So kind of interesting. Lane matchup here, but I definitely favor Jake the Geist and the Bebop.
Yeah, it's interesting to see these competitive teams like putting their primary carries in mid lane. You know, in the past, I feel like you always sort of think of these heroes as side laners, and I kind of like this adjustment though, where hey, you start in the mid. You know, you can do some pretty strong creep clearing, and then at some point in the game, you'll eventually kind of path over to the side lane and farm it up, but you can get a lot, maybe more farm, letting your lane partner roam and grab boxes and true soloing a wave in mid.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of those boxes, they are spawning at the 2-minute mark, so now we get the roam for those boxes. No aggressive stealing happening just yet.
Yeah,
okay,
NA loves the boxes. That's been like certainly the story. Oh, hook on the creep. Wanted the Venator there. Would have been a nice little find on Rokane. This is the power of the Bebop, right? It's like you hit like one hook on uppercut under tower and you can just be dead on even like a pretty healthy core like Venator. Always has to put a lot of respect out whenever the lane is on the other side. However, I think Bebop is not necessarily the strongest at sieging a tower. And so if you are just going to roam on Paradox and let Venator solo clear waves, like it could be a pretty comfortable lane to play into.
Okay, well, we have to mention that the Viper was paired with the Apollo. So that was pretty impressive. Quite a disgusting combo. We'll see what Melee Creeps can do with it. Fishcake on the Viper, having that great Lash game just prior to this one. And Ido on the Apollo, like you guys mentioned. So definitely going to be a dangerous lane. And it will be Billy and Kelvin on the other end of it. So definitely, Billy, Kelvin, also a strong lane here. It's going to be really interesting to see how this one pans out.
Nice little reignite on the Yamato. A lot of damage going to be felt there. I will say, you put all that spare damage into a lane, and it's up against a Billy Kelvin lane. So pretty scary lane to ever commit into, and hard to really put that chip damage down when Hydration is just going to keep sustaining the Billy. Billy, whenever he gets those melees off, right, is going to heal so much out of that. Looks like going to be a quick restart from Rokane. Got a quick game bug. Of course, going to squash that one early. Looks like there's a little bit of action, though, shaping up here around the mid lane. I mean, Viper's in the neighborhood. Still, it looks like Erebus is going to scout that out on the Paradox, and I don't expect to see much continued aggression. Still, it's just 3 minutes into the game. Still a bit to go before we see those buffs spawn. So we're here at the Shopify Sidekick shop on Deadlock Night Shift.
Yeah, Rokane, it's looking like he's waiting for some ramen or something.
Yeah, seriously, he's he's waiting on his to-go order. It's taking forever.
That's a power stance. That's a guy who needs to air out.
He's steady. He's stable. Looks like we got the ready, and we're right into the action. Erebus scouts out that rotate from Fishcake. Nothing major going to occur just yet.
Oh, okay, connection.
Oof, big hits.
Flash.
Yeah, Lowman and Lefa get kind of smoked in that trade, and it looks like the creeps go to Dynamo and Yamato. So a nice little win for them on the lane. Yeah. That single trade, it really puts you on the back foot. Lefa and Lowman, I don't think they're players known for wanting to be in this posture, right? Where they're just trying to survive and sustain a lane. These guys want to be aggro. Fighting into a Yamato and a Dynamo, though, can be pretty challenging.
And it also, I think, tells us what is probably likely to happen around the buffs, because if they were able to get that lane priority on the weaker side there, it's definitely, I think, an omen that they'll probably be able to get lane priority again. Like it compounds that advantage. And by the time the buff is coming up, and this is that 430 wave, the wave that's coming down the rope right now. This is the wave that you want to try to clear as quickly as possible so that you can get that positioning. But quick flying strike there. Not going to amount to much.
He has to cancel it out. An attempt from Lefa to find an ignite, but these players low. I think it's just like you said, right? Trying to force the wave is going to be pretty difficult. They're going to do their best. Flame Dash is available for Lefa if he wants to commit it to clear this wave out quick. He's thinking about it. Doesn't want to commit it just yet. Man, those stomps from Dynamo really hurt on Infernus. Pretty hard to dodge that. Lowmain is going to go to the buff, but it looks like Do is going to get there first, and it's going to mean Lowmain just does not want to stick around. Furnace taking an absolute beating, and a movement buff is actually, I think, pretty nice for Yamato. Right, she has a lot of sustain in this early game. When she gets that Stalker up, it's really going to let her push the pace. So Lefa absolutely on notice. Super low HP in this lane, just getting every heal he can out of those regen orbs, but feels like it's hard for him to get healthy. Like one big stomp and power slash could be taking him down.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm curious what Lefa will build, because we talk about the Flame Dash build, but I think for Lefa's skills, I don't think you even want to see him go for that kind of a build. But then we get some Hyper Beam coming in to try to finish off Erebus. Not going to catch him though.
Still good damage.
Like, what do you expect Lefa to build? Because he's not going to get as high economy or the priority that John's going to get on the Geist. Are we going to see him try to get a bit more greedy? Maybe go for, you know, not a dash-oriented build, but more kind of catalyst build first, as opposed to maxing flame dash first?
Yeah, I do think you'll still max flame dash. The build we see a lot with this dash and furnace is a build that is super focused on getting your green spike up early. The Viper getting a big trade here. Would love to be able to find this kill. Doesn't want to commit melees here. Scared of the parries. Gonna go double down with the chain. Even with the vitality buff though, Ido also feeling some of the pressure here. So great fight from Snake so far. Going deeper on this, pretty risky. The cold front. And that vitality buff, I think, makes a world of difference there. Snake's a little bit of an overextension. And John finds Rokane in mid as well. Early bloodbath here. So far coming up well for the melee creeps. The FPS Lounge want to turn it around to the side lane.
Sticking out to the knives. Takes down Dynamo there. And does low main. It's a good look here on this lane. Taking some control back after, you know, being really against the oppressive force of Dew on that Yamato and Scout on the Dynamo.
How many Resto Lockets are in the game right now? I know people have been buying Resto Locket, but I feel like it's a little out of control. I think there might be like 7 or 8 in the game in the first 7 minutes.
Yeah, it is just so good.
For those who don't use it, can you explain the item?
So basically you get a charge when the enemy uses a skill in a radius around you. When you pop all the charges, you get a bunch of heal and you get some stamina back. So it's a good way to get a little burst heal and some extra stamina. And oh my god, I think there were like 10. This is crazy.
It's like 30 every charge. And I learned that if you're against an Apollo lane, like Apollo's lunge, like every lunge gives you a charge. So that ends up being 90 heal if he uses all 3 of lunges. So it actually makes up a big difference. And another thing about the Resto Locket is that it can force the opponents to make mistakes because they won't necessarily know how much healing you can do, and you can kind of bait them into a fight and then heal up at the last moment. And here's the dive you're talking about. He's trying to make something happen here, but it's not looking like it's going to go his way. The Quantum Entanglement will get him out of dodge for now, but pretty low. When he's to get burnt here, there's that Resto Locket coming in, and his
portable
his life is very different.
Yeah, basically good defensive movement from Scout, but that's your Shadow Transformation and your Singularity committed, and you actually don't get the kill. So you just getting out of that trade and having Leffa kind of be back to a healthy status is a pretty big deal, I think, for FPS Lounge. I think they're going to be quite happy with the way that one went down. Leffa doing everything he can to try to put some pressure onto the side lane. Would love to be able to knock this tower down to secure himself a nice, comfortable place to farm. And Lomame still won't back down despite being on low HP. A lot of clear on the waves here from Leffa. Mato, though, looking for the easier target in the Shiv. Super low HP. The Resto Locket diving in. Extra stamina getting him around the tower. But eventually, the bloodletting is just going to be too much. Claims his life. Dew gets that kill.
How tanky actually Dew is at the moment. You know, the Resto Locket, you know, 1600. So you're getting a lot of investment on the vitality. I think that's another reason why it's kind of a nice item. And Dew looking to try to fight the Infernus here. I mean, this is not a bad fight for Dew. He is pretty well. Okay, Resto Locket is out of charges now at this point, and in comes Snakes for the help. And that's going to be a wipe out there. And I mean, where do you think the game is right now, Jake? You know, we've seen you know, the early laning phase is basically ending now.
Yeah, as we're getting these rotations in, I feel pretty good about FPS Lounge's position. As I say that, though, Erebus hooked in deep, wants to actually turn this fight around, potentially on Desaya, but with the bomb exploding, he's going to be happy to just run away, and he won't even be able to do that. John, very confident posture here, up right by the enemy mid-walker, but there's nothing they can do about it.
Life can only be bought with life.
Here come the buffs. And looks like melee creeps will get position on the left side. There is nobody here for FPS Lounge.
It's 3 Guardians to 0. That's kind of wild. I mean, there's a lot of souls locked up in those Guardians. And eventually, you know, certainly some split pushes will knock some of them down. But nonetheless, that's kind of rare we see a game start in a true 3-for-0 when it comes to that Guardian count. And a laser from Saya is going to further assist the defense in the mid lane. Just overwhelming pressure from Erebus is going to be enough. And with that mistaken hook onto John, I don't think there's going to be much of a chase to be had either. Second Guardian goes down. So that 3-0 advantage pretty much gone. Even Leffa has already done some ample damage to that left side Guardian.
Yeah, and it you know, very important play to recognize for FPS Lounge. You're not even thinking about it. And if there's all this Guardians up, you can you can easily get the Guardians if they rotate to take the urn. So things beginning to equalize, and now we've got the story developing of the urn dunk approach from Scout, looking to try to get there. But a big fight at the secret shop here now between both sides, as the urn now has opportunity to get dunked in and is trying to get in there still. But still holding on to that one is Scout for the time being. We've got a big Kelvin Dome coming on through, and that should be pretty nice, you'd imagine. But I don't think the numbers are actually here for FPS Lounge. They're getting really just destroyed here on this urn drop-off.
Yeah, they just get obliterated there. I mean, melee creeps find the kills in the secret shop before they even go for the urn dunk. Kelvin Dome from Hydration can only delay things, and not for long at that. So pretty significant gap now opens up in the game. That fight, multiple kills as well as a clean urn dunk. Extremely good opener for the melee creeps, and it is going to be a gun build Viper, so we're going to see Fishcake. Wonder when he'll build into that armor piercing rounds. I mean, I will say there are some like consistency issues with Viper, but the theoretical DPS you output is just absolutely obscene in the late game. If you get an opportunity to just lay into somebody, they will be dead.
All right, looks like a very important kill looking to be one on to do. This dude's trying to escape it. There's 3 players though, and that's not going to happen. Viper actually making a way across into the mid lane here. There's a flank to be had here on the 2 players looking to escape in middle at the same time as we get this engagement here on the side lane. And I don't know about this one. Scout is really exposed. Quantum entanglement there to dodge the concussive combustion, and the fight continues as the juking is actually not looking too bad.
I mean, he's juking, but he is burning down, and Leffa just will not back down, keeping that on essentially forever. I mean, Scout basically only from the efforts of Leffa gets down low. That low HP, they're going to need reinforcements if they want to hold on to this Guardian. Leffa, though, wisely is not going to overcommit into this. Reads that the rotations are coming in and plays it safe. Super tanky as well, by the way, on this Infernus. I mean, a lot of HP. Even though he takes a big power slash here, it's like, you just aren't bringing this guy down. He's still sitting on a half-full Resto Locket.
And Infernus, one of the very few characters, maybe the only, that can farm as he's trying to escape from sudden death. And there's a lot of burst damage here from melee creeps. Maybe starting to see the vision come into full play there. Oh, that's such a nice execution there. Killing blow into the singularity, though. And has Scout done his job? Wow. You've got so much pain coming in from all of the Spirit Burst. The Lotani site is going to be very problematic.
Heals from Hydration were huge in that fight. Kept people alive, keep them stable despite tanking some big ults. Once again, the singularity from Scout fails to find too much impact in this game. Nice recovery for FPS Lounge. Still, though, there's a pretty significant soul advantage here for the melee creeps. They're down a few key ultimates. I think FPS Lounge have an opportunity here to kind of make back some ground if they want to, but for now, they're pretty comfortable to farm this one up and to go, down the stretch to a later game. I mean, I think everyone on the FPS Lounge team is going to feel pretty good about going into a late game. However, for melee creeps, I do think Dynamo has some crazy late game. Once you get Refresher, Unstoppable, Cheat Death, like, all right, that's an unrealistic amount of items, but at some point, right, the Dynamo just becomes a bigger and bigger problem when it comes to team fights.
And speaking of team fights, we do have the urn in 45 seconds, and Dynamo looking to force a team fight there. Takes a lot of damage thanks to the kinetic carbine coming on through. Just wants to get these this tier 2 camp. Getting completely harassed away from that one. And now kind of moving in the pack again. 30 seconds out for the next buffs and urn. It's going to be an odd urn. And looks like Snake's able to find the initiation onto the Dynamo. Okay, looking like the entire team of FPS Lounge collapsing onto this one. This is a perfect fight to find before the bridge buffs and urn come into play. Scout goes down, and there's a great parry coming on through it. Does that make the difference at all here? As now into the dome. It's a great dome to find here from Hydration, and it should surely be the end of these players here from melee creeps. They are getting really low there. It goes to Ido was in the mix, has to get out there as well. And they're all getting chased down here. Snake's extremely low, goes down as well. FPS Lounge are starting to bleed a little bit, but they just have too many advantages.
And Leffa takes down a side guardian, maybe looking for more. Fishcake trying to do what he can to hold on to this walker. Does not want to back down and let Leffa grab a quick solo walker for free, but I think Shiv's coming in from behind, gets the flank on. That return fire, I believe, on Leffa makes it really awkward for Viper to commit for the kill. The dagger from Shiv, almost enough, hold on. He just hits a shield in time, but it's not enough. Concussive even popped from Leffa. Not going to be enough to shut down this Yamato, who should be able to get that cleanup kill, but I think Leffa's work is done, right? Got that walker dropped, got some kills. on the trade. Soul count completely even. That's a massive dome from Hydration to turn the game around.
Yeah, huge find in that mid lane. And now looking to try to compound the advantage. Probably haven't had time to spend any of the souls that they've managed to gain, but it will be a pickup from melee creeps onto this urn. So we'll see if they're able to turn this one in. This is a really good moment for FPS Lounge because there's no ultimates up here for the urn at all. So no singularity to worry about.
Really love that call from FPS Lounge. They know that they just don't have the HP to contest that earn pickup. So instead, they back off, they heal, they regen, and they're off to the other side of the map, putting lane pressure on. There's no walker here either, so really awkward place to dunk. An attempt here on Shiv, who is actually maybe just turning it around right back into Saya. Billy Chain comes in. Remember, there's no ulti here available for Dewey. You pull him deep, he could be in a rough spot. And he is in exactly that. Hooks, rather the swap onto Bebop was looking for a hook, trying to get cheeky. It's actually Saya who finds himself in trouble. Good movement though, gets him back to that walker. It's a pretty scary place to fight. Hydration not being scared just yet though, still continuing to push that pace. Looks like a hook was onto Ido though, so unfortunately kind of mitigates the Apollo's ability to chase, so FPS Lounge get off scot-free.
Yeah, this mid pressure though from FPS Lounge has been quite effective, but yeah, looking a little scary at the moment. You've got melee creeps looking to collapse on this position, starting to chase him down. In the meantime, they're still being held onto by Rokane, of all people, the M1 on that Venator. And he'll be ferrying the urn across in a safe path. And at the same time, FPS Lounge have to hold on to this position. Great hook, though. Big trouble there for Lomain. Has to ult to try to get out of this one. The shotgun movement needs to come in, but there is Kelvin as well for support. Keep the Shiv alive. Lomain will survive to maybe be in that urn fight a little bit later. But they, oh my god, they're going for the mid boss in the middle of the urn.
Shiv is low, and they have Yamato and Dynamo. They're just going to go gambling on this one, and they have the damage to back it up. I like this play from the melee creeps. Really ballsy move here around the mid boss. I don't think FPS Lounge saw this one coming. Quick triple rejuve, but there's not a contest to be had. Maybe they're going to be looking to put some counter pressure on. Leffa would love to be able to at least take some of these rejuves away.
Oh my god, the damage there from the Flame Dash. And now catching at least the Dynamo in the Kelvin Dome, that's going to be a good pick. And they might be able to convert onto some more Rejuve Crystals here. So much damage to the Flame Dash. Leffa dealing monstrous amounts of spirit damage as now the fight continues in this corridor as he slides into the Singularity, into the Dynamo's arms. And this is an absolute bloodbath here on the stairs here in the mid-boss. And now here comes more damage from the Apollo. Ido just getting to run amok here and doing so much. The Sigil's ready to go again, and there's a complete cleanup.
Wow, just too many bodies. I mean, it was a really nice fight from Leffa, but in the end, with three rejuves rather to play with, you have the time to let players die inside of the dome, come out the other side up the rejuve, and actually still come back in the team fight. So I think that fight may still have been worth it for FPS Lounge to take at least two of the rejuves away. They would have certainly loved to find a third. And now getting the urn control as well is going to sort of add to the cost. FPS Lounge, though, they need to strike back. Honestly, I think they need to fight now. Like, there's no ultimates available. Dew is going to struggle to really be in these engagements without the Shadow Transformation. FPS Lounge also postured aggressively on this map. They aren't going to be scared, even down a rejuve and a bit of cash.
And they're actually maybe looking to collapse around the mid-walker. This is kind of crazy, and we'll see what they can get from this one. You got all the snakes there in the back, ready to do what he can. And he's actually stolen the urn. That is crazy.
Goodbye, Erebus. Hooked under the walker stomp. Yeah, you're not walking that one off, buddy. And even a catch onto Snakes, trying to sneak out with the urn. Gets punished. Leffa's right into this one. We'll see if this Infernus can be killed. He's been doing so much in these team fights. It's the second player who's died after they already lost a Rejuve Crystal. So Melee Creep's still with the last Rejuve to play with, still looking for more. Leffa looks to be the target, but ticking from that Holy Grenade and the Infernus Burn at the same time makes you pretty reluctant to go for a chase.
Yeah, another grenade landing as well. Makes things a bit awkward. And Rokane coming in from the side there at the Venator, but doesn't have enough support. Not enough bodies in front of him. And it's just another freebie here for the Scout to pick that one up. An 18k deficit now from FPS Lounge to try to contend with, and they're getting chased down as well. The team fight's where they should be, winning the battle here, but they just can't seem to find what they need. And there's still a Rejuve Crystal up, even though they lost two earlier on. They managed to maintain one throughout that entire skirmish.
Yeah, both Scout and Fishcake died 2 times and died after losing their rejuves, but the middle 4 stayed alive through this entire battle since dropping the mid boss. That's a pretty brutal team fight, but with an advantage urn turn in and the spawn timer is relatively short, FPS Lounge still going to have a new lease on life in this game. Things are starting to get pretty scary, though. I mean, Merc Mag is up for Viper with the gun buff as well. Do now, I think, has kind of reached that point where, hey, he might just be two-shotting people with the Power Slash into Shadow Transform into Power Slash.
Yeah, but a team fight brewing here as well, because you got FPS Lounge defending the comeback turn in, going for the deepest of hooks through the veil. Okay, drop onto Ido, Snakes. Very hard to lock down in Apollo, though.
A little bit of low stam here. Still, nice catch with the stomp. Billy, though, pretty tanky into this one. A swap comes in on the high ground. There's a lot of healthy players here for FPS Lounge. John uses the swap, and he's still low. Lomain's going to heal back up through a lot of that, and you do still have the Kelvin Dome yet to be deployed. FPS Lounge looking for the right moment in the fight. Italian Losan hits onto Leffa, but maybe the explosion has done its work already. Last Rejuve Crystal hits the deck. Melee Creeps haven't found any decisive kills into this fight, and they still have to be respecting that Dome. Hydration, looking for the right moment to find that connection. Dynamo does get the Urn Dunk with the help of Dew, but is it going to be enough for the team fight? The kills are what really matters at this moment in the game, and ultimately Yamato goes down without even popping Shadow Transform.
Oh, and Geist gets away with one. John is absolutely one. Going into mid actually might make himself vulnerable as this fight continues here by the drop-off spot. And the singularity. Oh my goodness, the catch there takes down both Rokane and Erebus. Well, Rokane actually, I think, died slightly to the side, and it's... So John did actually still fighting. You swear, he was one, but looking like Snakes is on the run instead now.
Guess that solo heal creep. Again, it's a really hard-fought fight from FPS Lounge, but the cost is going to be immense. Like, down to the wire on a lot of those kills, but the fact that it's melee creeps who get the clear, it's economically essentially the same thing as being completely routed and destroyed in a team fight.
It's an interesting game, Jake. And, you know, now we're at the point where it feels like at a point of no return potentially, but the path here has been kind of crazy because of all of the skirmishes. It was that just super fast mid boss call that completely caught FPS Lounge off guard. That's where things really started to go wrong for them.
Yeah, it was a big move. I mean, they just put Lomain to super low HP, and, you know, you try to stick around, be a little bit greedy, still, you know, show pressure on the map, and they realize, hey, you're not healed up. You cannot actually take this contest. And I mean, if we talk about like the late game team fight, it's not as devastating as last game, but hey, Shadow Transformation and Singularity are almost enough on their own pretty much to go for those flips, to be willing to take that risk. It's just the reality of Deadlock right now, right? You take a gamble when you go for the mid boss, but honestly, a lot of these teams recognize, hey, if we have a better than 50% chance, we will take that flip. It's not a secure play, but we don't necessarily need it to be. Maybe a catch onto Sai here, though. That last knife looks like it did connect. The bleed is going to go really down to the wire. I think he maybe is going to survive through it this time, though.
Yeah, I wonder if there's even the Dispel Magic available too. There's got to be a fair few, given that you're playing against a Shiv and an Infernus.
Yeah, almost a mandatory buy in this particular game. I mean, both Lomain and Leffa, like, you probably can't really tell their builds apart. They've more or less built the same items. But now, firmly on the back foot, FPS Lounge, not a comfortable spot for them. They like to be aggressive, right? They like to push the pace. We've sort of seen it in some of these fights, even when they're down souls. They're willing to take those team fights. Now, though, the advantage has kind of grown such that you kind of need to wait for your opponent to make a mistake, you know, get some of these comeback souls, try and recover some of that mistake. Maybe it's already here, Hydration and Lomain. They're inside the dome, but it just doesn't matter. Fishcake finds the kill through it. Shadow Transform still available. Snakes, slivers of HP. Spell Magic straight into that Shadow Transform. Erebus looks to be getting absolutely obliterated here in this trade, and really good start to the fight for Melee Creeps. Leffa's still healthy, but now it's only him versus the world. Mid-boss just spawned. Pretty much a nightmare scenario.
So interesting too, because I feel like we haven't really seen Viper come into play. You know, we've never been on the Viper POV really in any time when Vipers look particularly strong. I mean, obviously with this kind of a build too, Jake, I imagine you're already looking for a late game out the Viper.
Yeah, I mean, I do think when you have Unstoppable, that's really a power P, right? Where he has enough farm to have very, very significant damage, and he can still invest in the Unstoppable without sort of gimping his own damage by skipping another item. That's a really rough spot to be, because all of your plan of like disrupting the Viper, preventing her from sliding, preventing her from getting all that burst off, pretty much goes out the window. With Unstoppable, those options just don't exist. I mean, you could dome and hide from the Viper, but we just saw inside of the dome a Shiv plus Kelvin combo getting eviscerated by the Snake. So certainly it's looking pretty rough. I mean, game one, frankly, it looks locked up right now. The triple rejuve, almost a 50k soul advantage. Doesn't look good to be FPS Lounge at this moment.
He was not under the influence. He was ahead of the meta, boys.
Yeah. I mean, it's very fair now to start doing the post-mortem on that, and add only a couple more fights maybe left in this one before utter destruction. Oh, okay, we got some parries here.
Oh, he's got Shadow Transform. He's going to kill them all here. Oh, God, they're trapped in here with him. Just continuing to push this pace. Snake's doing well to fight inside. Hold on, Leffa getting a lot of burn off. That's the last rejuve out, but in the end, FPS Lounge looks to be routed. Leffa doing his absolute best, but the power slashes in the closet there are just too much. The takeout from Leffa is going to kill Fishcake, which actually is a pretty crucial pickoff because at least you might have like a slightly longer amount of time to be able to like, or before the base drops, but realistically, this is a patron drop.
Very interesting game. I'm not even sure if this game is won or lost at all in any sense because of the drafts, you know, like I don't feel like the drafts mattered as much as just some of the team fighting, you know, just the moments to decide to engage, how the engagements went, the initiations and so on.
I feel like this is what happens when you have two teams as closely matched as these two squads, right? FPS Lounge, I mean, think about that one fight around, you know, the FPS Lounge side earn turn in. I mean, both teams were down to slivers of HP. By the way, player advantage here for FPS Lounge. They're absolutely going to look for this fight. Here comes the Dome. Isolates the Geist. But with losing Rokane in the trade, it's starting to get scary. Dew still holding the Shadow Transform. Certainly not the best sign. Leffa getting in the thick of it here with concussive combustion, but Melee Creep still wanted to fight it out. The prize for a team fight victory here is the end of game one. And with Hydration being run down, looking in a pretty desperate way here. Oof. Should be game one coming to a close. Even the Winions starting to clear out the base. Like, you have to not just win this fight on FPS Lounge, you have to win it now.
DDK, this game's over. Was the soul distribution purposefully this even? Because I don't feel like I've seen it within 3K of each other before.
Definitely not purposely. I think it's just a interesting game with the way that the lanes broke down, and they try to give a lot of solo farm to Fishcake because Fishcake, you know, wasn't really ahead. You know, it wasn't until that mid boss that I think gave the space for Fishcake to really start to kind of catch up and do well on Fishcake's farm. And I mean, John's always going to be a steady pair of hands there as well, but was prioritizing a lot of that mid position initially. So I don't know. I mean, you're never trying to guarantee anything except that you allocate as best as you can into the places where it matters most, which is usually, I guess in this case, it's going to be John and Fishcake. But yeah, sometimes it just works out like that.
I will say, I think in modern Deadlock, it's certainly viable to play a support, but it's not going to be required, right? Like, you can definitely play a draft where, yeah, there's going to be some variance in the farm, but everybody can be an effective fighting force. I don't think it's necessarily bad to play a Rem or a Kelvin and to be more focused on healing and supporting, but I don't think there's anything wrong with the Melee Creep style of having, hey, everybody can fight, everybody can heal and sustain one another, right? That's sort of Deadlock right now. You have the option to play creatively with your drafting. Bomb here on Leffa. You'd love to be able to find a pickoff around the mid-map, and Leffa a lot less tanky than he was earlier on in this game. Even has to pop the Infuser just to desperately try to heal up what he can if in case anyone were to chase him on that flame trail. But I mean, FPS Lounge are fighting for scraps on the map right now. Like, clearly they have to just sort of back off at even the start of a trade. And I mean, a free buff and earn is going to be a pretty rough spot. I guess fighting the next earn is your sort of next and potentially final chance for FPS Lounge to mount a comeback.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's game one. It's game one. Some good discovery has been done.
Oh, wait, that's a big pick on Asaya. 90 seconds on the deck is a long time. The power splash, this is onto Erebus. Concussive combustion in. Billy Chain onto 4. There could be a fight to be had here, Dan.
And there's that dome as well. Okay, there's the health swap, but there should be enough players, enough sustain here. And okay, finally, Rokane's able to actually do something in these fights, but not getting targeted. Most players are actually outside of the singularity as well. It's just going to catch onto Snakes, so maybe still a chance for damage. Scout goes down, 90 seconds on the deck as well for him. And I mean, the problem is Dude's come back into action. That damage with Ido as well is crazy. And they just clean everything up. Oh, it's horrible for the FPS Lounge.
I like that FPS Lounge goes for it there. I mean, you know, to go down on your feet rather than to take it lying down. Better way to end it. But ultimately, yeah, Fishcake just a little bit too farm. You spend all those resources, and in the end, you pick off arguably the least important characters in Bebop and Dynamo. The real damage from the rest of Melee Creeps comes pouring in. They open up the series here with a 1-0 lead. An unconventional draft, but it looks well practiced. I think we can see why their opponent in the challenger match actually banned those two heroes away, because that Viper looked pretty scary.
All right, so when we thought a draft was shit, the team kind of got obliterated in Europe. Then we went to North America and we thought the draft was crap. It turns out to be fantastic. Turns into gold. Let's take a look at this nugget one clip at a time. DDK, pull out the microscope and walk me through the madness that the Melee Creeps brought to the table. You guys said it didn't matter about the draft, so what were the big plays that gave MLC the edge over FPS Lounge?
Honestly, it was the mid boss. That was the main decision. They made it very, very quickly. They recognized they had position. They understood their opponents were kind of trying to ferry the urn across the map and were just not able to respond in time. Because you'd have to think that the advantage should in theory be around those fights. If FPS Lounge were ready for them, it would be with FPS Lounge, because they got a bunch of scary ultimates, especially in the Kelvin Dome, and to be able to be very strong in those mid-boss contests. But that ended up like having FPS Lounge chasing the rest of the game after that moment.
Choppy celebrates Melee Creep's first win, but it's a best of 3. Remember, it'll take 2 to earn them the cash this week and the title of best in North America. For now, you take a look back at the highlights. Some shifty Shiv couldn't get away from this one. The Yamato chasing it down. John was on fire for as long as I can remember anytime we looked at the game, guys.
Yeah, John being on fire. You better get used to it watching Melee Creeps play. You know, if they're winning games, you better believe John is doing incredibly well. This game, though, I think Fishcake really shined on the Viper, right? It was a quiet early game. It was pretty much just farming up in the side lanes, got a couple walkers down, and then showed up with the Merc Mag and just deleted heroes, right? Like when your Shiv and Kelvin cannot tank inside the dome, you know you have a problem. Geist also looking really good this game. Geist had some tough games recently on the night shift, and look at this. Ooh, oh my God. Getting caught inside of the closet against Viper. You think you're safe because he can't slide in there. Think again.
Nick's on a plane, baby. They're also in your closet. 1 kill at a time. Viper getting people excited in the chat. There's a lot of lookups, a lot of emote spamming, and one VIP member back here weekly. We've got Billy the Goat. I feel like towards the end of his meta. Is Billy done for, guys? When was the last time Billy won?
I still think Billy can be good in some of these games, but Yamato does look better and better. I think in EU, people have been like pushing the tempo that Yamato can bring and really looking effective. Also, you gotta give some credit to Apollo in this game. Not only has a strong start to the game in the lanes, but the spirit damage we get down the stretch. I'm really curious actually to see some of the damage breakdowns in the stats, because this game's like, honestly, it's really hard to call for the Melee Creeps, like who's got top damage. I really feel like it could have been any of those cores.
Boom. There we have it. I found my beanie. Daughter's asleep. It's time to get rowdy. I already talked to my friend Dole, who I haven't talked to in like 6 years. He just got the invite from Deadlock. He asked, are we playing? I said, yeah, as soon as NA wraps this shit up. So let's get it done, Melee Creeps. Let's get this 2-0. Let's get them rolling, or go to game 3 and play 48-minute games. I'm happy either way. I'm learning. DDK, did you learn anything new as we take a look at the numbers from this thing, other than we should probably buy this item because all the pros had it in the lobby at the same time?
Yeah, the Resto Lock is definitely a buy I'm going to consider a bit more heavily. I do think it's really good.
We may have reached peak Resto Lock with that game, though. Like, there's always a moment in which it peaks, and then maybe the nerfs coming or something.
There was like a shadow something, Shadow Realm. Anyway,
yeah, the old
everyone was buying it.
E-Shift used to be half as much money. So when E-Shift was a 3,200 item, that was Ethereal Shift was completely broken. Was like 12 buys a game, craziness. Old debuff remover was got to that point pretty well. And I mean, I will say Resto Lock, it's a pretty cheap item. It's only 1,600, giving you extra stam and a moment's notice, a burst to heal. It's that playmaking potential of the item that I think makes it so attractive to top players.
Void Walker was the item I was thinking of, DDK. It's no longer cool. We take a look at all of the numbers here brought to our friends, and a big look at the number down low, guys. We're closing in on 1,000 Twitch subs. Thank you for all the Prime subs. It costs you nothing. It gives us money. Who's earning money for their team tonight? Well, I think you got to give some love to, of course, what you saw from the Yamato. Saya, though, has been quite the player to watch. John leading the lobby gets the official MVP award. And as we mentioned, Ido looking way better on the Apollo. The movement's working.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting in terms of like the whole sidekick attribution. I'm really not sure because I feel like I could make an argument for Do. That'd be a play that would kind of stand out for me, because obviously you got John who's going to be the heavy hitter. You're expecting Fishcake as well to do a lot of damage, but for me, like, Do had obviously a great game on Yamato and was extremely disruptive in all the ways that a good Yamato player should be. And so for me, you know, you're going to start the fight, maybe finish it with John or Fishcake, but Do is going to be the one that's creating all the space, is like able to chase people down, and I think Do had a lot of really good moments in this game.
You guys ever like outkill your opponents by 25 kills? It feels really good, only in a 30-minute game. They got it done fast and furiously, and we've got at least one more to go. Ladies and gentlemen, stay locked. It's Night Shift episode 35. We've got Jake, we've got DDK, a whole bunch of highlights and more still to go. You're not missing anything. We'll be right back. Welcome to your new YouTube addiction. It's called The Night Shift. I'm Chris Puckett alongside DDK and Jake. And if you don't know who we are, you haven't been watching esports for a while. At least we don't well, Jake doesn't forgive you. I do. Welcome to the show. Jake is an Overwatch pro. DDK is a Quake pro. I'm a Halo pro. So that takes you back to kind of the beginning of esports.
Different eras.
Different generations. We all, though, are apparently handsome, according to the chat, and I have to agree with them. Jake, we're also very knowledgeable, and we're getting smarter every day, and you're about to teach the people at home a certain special something that's going to make them better at home. Go ahead.
Yeah, of course, we got to show some love to some of our sponsors, right? Being able to deliver a bigger prize pool to the scene is an awesome thing for Deadlock. It's also an awesome thing to have more different options about how to learn the game. I know, Dan, you're really big on this about, you know, learning, improving, iterating your gameplay. I think that's a huge thing at the heart of esports. And that's why we partnered with TrackLock, not only to have all these amazing like in-game stats that we're able to show you guys like through the live game, whether it's the souls difference tracker or all those UI little pips showing, you know, the number of people with Affliction or Frozen Shelter. That's all coming from the TrackLock data feed. But of course, there's an app that everybody can download, guys. It's a desktop app. You download it, really easy, runs in the background on your computer, and it gives you a lot of really actionable intelligence that sort of improves the process of improving itself at Deadlock. So taking a quick look, showing off. So this is the scouting feature, as we're using like a replay from a game I played earlier today. And you're able to see like basically people's recent performance and sort of the heroes that they play a lot. I think the thing I look at a lot is how much have people played this hero? Is this like one that they specialize in, or is it one that they're just trying out for the first time? If my teammate is like first timing their hero, I'm going to be like a little bit more skeptical when it comes to their initiation. So that's always, I think, a nice bit of intel to start the game with. And then, of course, once you get into the game itself, there's timers, overlays on the game that help you, to keep track of things like, when the urn is spawning, when the buffs come up. I mean, I'm E6, so I played enough where honestly, the timers don't make a huge difference for me. But for a lot of players, I think this is like the number one issue with their game is that, hey, they're just like not at the right place in the right time. They're not ready for the next objective to come up. And I think these timers really will assist people who are trying to get better at that and get a feel for sort of where to be, what they're prioritizing in the early game.
If you want to feel smarter than all of your friends, just get that and you can be the in-game leader just like that. Jake, quick question. I saw it describing everyone's kind of play style, that your Shiv was aggressive. How did they describe you?
I think mine was pretty positive. I had a crazy loss streak the other day, but today I was in like good mood, good damage, good CS. I'm like, oh yeah, man, I'm doing.
It said you were a common bully.
Crashing out, man.
Yeah, okay.
Report him.
There was a lot of screaming going on in the early game in this voice chat. I'm really glad the replay does not include my teammates yelling at each other.
Sharon. This is awesome. I have not been able to use this on my own game. I've just been using their website for the builds, and this is a no-brainer. Definitely gonna download before we play tonight.
We've also got all the builds, the profile trackers. Taking a look at Dan's here. We're both inveterate B-bot spammers, so it would seem, but you're able to keep a track on like things like your recent performance, what you're playing, and then also take a quick and easy look at like some of the meta builds where the top heroes. And I respect it, Dan. Dan's been grinding.
I gotta play Vivo, man. If he's in right now, I gotta make the most of it.
Low 2, are you able to look up lint liquor?
Is that you, fucking?
It may or may not have been me earlier today. I think this is the new account after I got banned. I'm pretty sure we're at the bottom of the barrel because I was playing Shiv running straight lines. Yeah,
it's taking some tough
look
ones.
At the lint liquor, baby.
Take everything. All right, the track lock app is for absolutely everybody.
That's a Wraith main. Big shout out to that guy. There's multiple lint liquors, and I didn't have a custom photo yet. You're never gonna find me. Shout out to all the same brain folks that apparently suck at Deadlock with my name. That's fantastic. DDK, I'm going to get better one day. I'm in no rush. I'm enjoying learning, playing all the different heroes. I feel like every time we watch EU, it's different from NA. Is there anything that is separating the pros from the rest of the pack, though?
Ooh, it's always fundamentals, which is funny because you'd expect it to be something that's less fancy than that, but really that's like the difference. If you can master your fundamentals, then you can get to the top 1% like pretty easily, because that's like where the difference starts to get made. That's when you can really start playing the game, because you freed up all of your mental space to be able to have better game sense, because all your fundamentals are really good. You're doing all the basics right. You're not taking too much damage in the lane, not having bad trades. You understand how to play, like do counter itemization and how to play all these different spots, and that's all automatic. That's the point when you can really get into the nitty gritty of like the super mind games and the more complex stuff, I think. But you can get really far with good fundamentals.
I always
Jake,
think.
With that said, sorry to cut you off.
Ahead.
We're officially done with the track lock plug now, right? Like I can say what I really want to say.
I will say it, but I think
Liquor, gotcha, bitch. Told you I'd call you out live on Wednesday. Sorry, nothing but losses for the Wraith kid that was chatting in my lobby. Keep it going.
Fucking using,
I'm
of
petty,
course.
bro. I'm 40 years old.
He's got to get petty. He's got to get petty. Got to, But I will say, I think it's a great question though. Like seriously, about what separates the pros, like what makes people, better, and what allows them to have these stronger performances. I think the biggest difference is like a process difference, right? Like the reason a pro player is sort of better at all these aspects of the game in almost an overwhelming way for a new player is that they have sort of piece by piece built up their game. They've learned all these things. Like you said, Dan, your fundamentals, you sort of build things brick by brick. You get better at all these aspects of the game. You learn one thing at a time. And then you look back, 1,000 hours, 2,000 hours later, and you actually have built this huge base of skills that now you can rely on. So I think that ultimately approaching the game that way and kind of breaking it down into actionable items, saying, okay, like what are my stats on this thing? Like how consistent am I in the early laning phase? What about the late game team fights? What about the itemization, right? Over the course of many months, many games, you kind of learn issue by issue. You put it all together, that's what makes a pro, of course, and it's kind of almost impossible to see at that point. But it's that process, it's that focus and learning on data, on study that not everyone I think wants to put in the game, which is totally okay. But I think if you really want to improve, that's the best way to do it, right? To really take the game seriously and build up your skills bit by bit. Study where you're weak, track where your issues are, and try and isolate those and improve on them.
Incredible stuff. And with that said, we have drawn it out long enough for the draft to begin. DDK, our players are in the lobby. They're ready, and we expect an early ban on...
not Viper. I mean, it's an interesting one.
I honestly think they might ban Viper and or Apollo.
Like annoying.
Oh, they banned the Dynamo.
Right.
Okay, it was going in the first slots for the melee creeps, and they have been winning with it. I don't actually think this is a crazy ban, but what a beautiful world we are in that Dynamo is taking respect bans. I love a Dynamo meta. I hope this hero stays meta at the pro level. I think it's so much fun.
Eventually they'll start picking Sinclair, then it's over, Jake. That's
yeah, I do agree. People really should be picking Sinclair to the Dynamo. I think that it's an oversight to not do, but for FPS Lounge, maybe that's just sort of not what they practice, and maybe they just don't want to pull it out here on the big stage.
Totally, and then the Mirage ban comes in, so I mean that leaves up Venator, leaves up Infernus. Yeah, as like the next two top like super high value picks. Silver as well, I guess is something also that often goes in the first spot. So these are the things we could expect, I suppose. I'm curious where Viper's going to be found in this game right now, because I feel like Viper was fine in the last game, but I didn't feel like it. I felt like it could have been other stuff there, and it would have been fine too.
They do grab the silver. No big surprise there. I mean, I think pretty much every team considers her one of the top priority choices right now with the level of aggression she can output. Even without too crazy of a soul count, I feel like you always, pretty much in every phase of the game, need to respect silver. She's very tanky, does a lot of damage. And the Apollo alongside her is, again, really going to push the pace, right? Like in terms of early laning, aggression, and burst, you are going to be feeling it. FPS Lounge secure the Venator, so late game is going to feel good for them. But what are they going to do to mitigate some of these early game tempo advantages? For now, it's the Bebop.
More hookage, more success. He's been on fire tonight.
Yeah, I do like Bebop. Right? We're both hard. Me and Dan are both.
Yeah.
We are loving the bop, baby.
Games of Bebop in the last week. Like me and Dan are like, yeah, you should always pick Bebop. Clearly, that's the
question. As a Bebop player, like my ADHD didn't let me wait for my gun to fire. Is there a way to speed that trigger up? It
is buffed. I don't know when did you play Bebop, Puckett? Because it actually just got buffed.
Right when Street Brawl came out, I played a lot of Bebop.
That exact thing is what got buffed, is why people have been playing Bebop again. So there's still a wind up, but it's a lot shorter now.
Okay, all right, because him and McGinnis were on my shit list. He's moving up. Got it.
So you might enjoy a little gun Bebop. Melee creeps.
Oh, it's happening tonight.
Melee creeps triple down, by the way, in terms of like aggressive, run at you, nuker type heroes. They've got 3 already. FPS Lounge, really solid late game with the Venator and the Infernus, but Bebop is going to have his hands full this game. I mean, you're not going to need to hook these characters to get them right on top of you. Like, you are going to be kind of feeling that pressure.
Imagine if they get a Yamato in there as well. That would be
that's surely not, right? Like, at some point, you have to stop. Stop it. Get some help.
I'm curious now. I'm really, really curious how they'll finish out the draft. It's been interesting that we haven't seen Ivy at all today. I mean, Ivy was like so popular, in that support-ish role for a while.
True.
Good on the objectives, good macro, good mobility.
I think it would be good with the melee creeps draft, actually. Like, I think Ivy would be nice here because those are like 3 great heroes that you can drop in as with the ultimate, right? As like sort of a nuclear bomb dropping the enemy backline. Could be good.
What are we standing around for?
Okay, Billy Love. FPS Lounge, I mean, and NA in general, but FPS Lounge love Billy. Honestly, the Billy looked pretty good. I mean, this is looking like another. I mean, they have a very similar draft. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kelvin coming in again for them.
The city could use some new blood.
Wow.
I think that got banned last time.
I mean, that's a lot of greed to bring out the Mina here too. It's like Mina, Infernus, and Venator. A lot of scaling on the team. But I feel like I'm surprised they'd go with this pick because I feel like that's almost not your problem on this draft. Then again, maybe for Apollo, Shiv, and Silver, Mina is actually relatively a hard hero to get on top of and chase down, right? And the draft you've gone for so far for melee creep says you kind of need to chase down and catch these heroes. I could see them just getting kited out by Venator or rather, not Venator really, but by Infernus and Mina, just kind of like burning you, running away, hitting you once again.
Viscous. It's the Viper replacement, right?
Viscous is super interesting hero right now. I think generally people are building splatter, so like a lot of spirit nuking power, and then maxing the cube and just having like the best save in the game and a pretty strong nuke and kind of just piecing it together from there. And it's actually FPS Lounge who get the Ivy, which I think is going to feel pretty good for them. Now is the save, actually. It looks really good, right? When Apollo and Silver are going to be like running desperate, trying to finish these kills. Ivy saving people with the ulti actually can be pretty game-changing in this kind of a draft.
I think too, with Infernus, you can play a lower econ Infernus if it's more dash oriented. So I think there's a world where it could definitely work. We'll have to kind of see how the Mina's going to get played as well. But I think I see the vision for the FPS Lounge comp here, and I think Bebop is kind of like a tanky frontliner, especially once you get the level 3 uppercut online, and he does so much damage output too. So it's interesting, but I do think the Lash is a problem in this against the FPS Lounge, to be honest.
Why? Can you explain that? Just too weak, or is he going to cause the problem?
He's really, I mean, he's got, of course, like really good burst damage, but he's generally very hard to hit, and the death slams are going to be a big threat for catch against the Minas, Infernus as well. Like he can't kind of get away as easily in these bigger team fights. Venator's not very mobile either. Bebop's, I think, a pretty easy target also. So I think it's just like a fertile ground for Lash to do a lot in the team fights. And Ivy, you definitely want to see perhaps like a knockdown coming in to try to stop Lash's mobility.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jake who wins?
I think I kind of like the FPS Lounge draft a little bit more. I think they do scale significantly better into the late game. For melee creeps, though, they're going all in with basically like no late game. I mean, not zero late game. It's like a lot of sort of a mid game spirit power spike. Even Geist, who does a lot of gun damage, builds a little bit more spirit, I think, than some of the other carries who literally build only gun items. Once again, melee creeps want to push the tempo. It worked for them last game. They kind of obliterated the opposition. They won in basically 30 minutes. So for FPS Lounge to go greedy like this with the Infernus and the Mina, I think all eyes on those early game side lanes, how they do for FPS Lounge is going to be crucial, because if you let melee creeps get off to an explosive start, this is a draft that not only needs to, but has the tools to just like run you over and have another 30-minute game on your hands, which would be an amazing return to form for melee creeps. Fans will be for sure excited for them, but for FPS Lounge, having held on to this championship for only 1 week so far, I think they'd be disappointed in themselves if they can't get to a game 3.
Well, let's see how the lanes break down then as we're into the game. Here's a game 3 going to happen here.
Also, Saya is on silver. What had they cooked here, man? This is some wild stuff. Like, I mean, I know Saya was playing a little bit more farming roles and looked really good on the Bebop, which scales quite a bit better on Gunbop than some of his other typical hero picks. But, I mean, wow, silver. Quite the transition.
I'm trying to figure out who's dropped I like better, because I know you're saying you lean towards FPS Lounge. I do like it a lot. I mean, the Venator, Bebop, Infernus, really nice, definitely. I think that, you know, Ido and Fishcake, this is going to be kind of a painful and annoying lane to deal with. At least you have the cube for potential saves, but this is going to be fairly oppressive in terms of that spirit burst damage.
I need to rely on my cunning as well as my strength.
Yeah, Mina just has to be so careful, right? I mean, I feel like this Apollo versus Mina battle, I think, is ultimately pretty much a skill battle, right? Because in theory, they can both kind of escape from one another and never let each other get caught. And I also like that it's Lomain on the Mina. Lomain, for me, is like one of the best individual mechanical players right now in North America, especially when he plays these more like movement-heavy roles. So now that I see him on the Mina, I feel a little bit more confident about the pick. A lot of farm scaling on this FPS Lounge team, though, so if they can, you know, kind of scale up and get towards some of these late game items, they could be in a good spot.
I know it happened like 10 seconds ago, but that was actually a really nice dodge against the Sigil from Lomain there, because that Sigil does honestly insane amounts of damage.
Yeah, you do not want to get hit by that in lane, man. It's like a 30-year health bar.
Yeah, like that. If I'm ever like predicting an Apollo nerf, it's going to be the Sigil that gets the damage nerf. I feel like.
Well, big nuke in the mid lane. Apollo's here. Ido interrupts what was going to be a fair trade, and they ended up with opening 2 kills in the mid lane. Huge find off the rotate from Ido, and space created. Now some counter pressure, of course, on the other side lane, but damage may have been done. I don't know that you're really going to be able to do much Guardian damage here. Lash going to be pretty comfortable clearing this wave out, getting the solo heal. So essentially no concessions really taken from that rotation.
Yeah, well, it's going to be honestly quite menacing if Ida gets to continue to have so much success dropping into these lanes. I mean, Apollo's so good at doing it. I gotta say as well, you know, Apollo has some of the best like movement stats. Once you get stamina mastery, you get to really understand quite how floaty Apollo is. It's obviously not as much as Celeste, but I feel like he might be the second most floaty of the, or like low gravity of all of the heroes behind Celeste. I don't know if
I know
that's accurate.
Lane swapped over into this one, getting kind of boxed out by Billy, who was like, this is my camp. You come here, you will get bashed in the face.
Okay, good lane pro coming in here from Snakes on the Billy. Low main as well. Like, they're doing a good job managing that lane. We described some of the dangers of it. Ido's running some boxes right now. And there's the threat for Ido to drop back in on either mid or the right side lane is now present as he comes back to mid. Definitely going to need to assist John because that wave is now crashing against that mid tower.
Leffa doing what he can to clear the waves here, but this early game draft for Melee Crepes is putting on some oppressive pressure. I mean, FPS Lounge, they might have some strong scaling, but I don't think this is how they want to play the game, right? Given the option, I think they'd rather be the team putting on that kind of a dominant early game. But look at the health bars. I mean, melee creeps just full across the board, and quite a few low players on FPS Lounge. 4K soul lead is pretty significant considering there's not any Guardians going down to achieve that. That's just like pure kills and farm.
Yeah, it does make them quite ripe for being picked as well, and does also mean that FPS Lounge can't easily challenge any of these bridge buffs, which is horrendous actually, because they're going to lose both bridge buffs.
Oh, spirit buff for Ido and movement buff for Lash.
Yeah.
Like, in a game that you want to push pace, like this is maybe the best 2 buffs to find in this game.
100%. Again, so cool that we can see this on the UI these days. You guys have been long-time night shift enjoyers. It's somewhat of a recent thing.
Yeah, what a time to be alive. Actually being able to see the buffs in the UI.
Left getting his second and first game.
He's trying to battle in this lane, man, but Scout just keeps laying in these splatters, and they're just keeping Infernus low, man. Like, great movement reads as well. It feels like he's just hitting everyone. Nice parry, though, but the cube means there's not really going to be a punish for that. Nice little feature of this lane for Shiv. You can kind of go for big gambles, although maybe going a little bit too deep onto this dive as Shiv claps back, turns around for the kill. Scout goo balls for security. I mean, wait, this is across the map. 4 kills? Maybe 5 if Rocane dies? Like, that's almost a team wipe across the map.
Absolutely crazy amounts of action here early on. We're only 6 minutes in.
Wait, like this game is almost, I mean, it's not out of control, but it is damn close to out of control. Look at the death counter. It is, what is that, 1 to 7? Like, that is bonkers. Normally, you know, getting kills in the early game at this level of play, like, yeah, you might get the kill, but you're going to be so low that the counter kill just comes in. Like, that's pretty much what we expect. I can't remember the last time we've had a blowout early game like this. Melee creeps are gunning for this championship.
Yeah, although with that said, all Guardians are still up at the moment, so a lot can still be converted and caught up by FPS Lounge. It's actually funny because there's sometimes when you get behind, there's almost an argument to just try to stay behind until that first turn to get the comeback earned on the first one, which is like so rare to see, but let's see if it happens here. Okay, well, this is big trouble for Snakes. Oh my god, didn't even need the Lycan form for that. And I mean, there's nothing really to do for low main, so it's just got to fall back. The dive ability right now for melee creeps is so huge.
Yeah, and
oh man,
first Guardian goes down.
Read,
I expect there to be more to follow it pretty soon. Now Mina's gonna have to just solo farm in this lane. Looks like Snakes is gonna try to get active, try to turn their forces around in this game. They're going on John, but he's absolutely full health. Just turns it around, runs down Erebus. Fights off way more than he can chew into that one. Billy's here with the chain gang, wants to maybe pull people deep under the tower. Can't quite get it well enough, especially with the Italian Losan mitigating some of the follow-up there. And they're taking those chains. They're just going to turn around and shoot your mid-tower. Game crumbling across the map. Even Leffa on the Infernus goes down, actually, to do. Doesn't even get the concussive combustion off.
Oh, good hit coming in there to try to get a punish in. Honestly, I feel like, again, this comeback count is going to be really important on this 10-minute mark. So if this is maintained, there is still a way back here for FPS Lounge. But as you say, like, the skirmishing is absolutely wild here in the mid lane. Still so much breaking down in terms of these fights. You got 3 players for FPS Lounge having to, I mean, they're getting forced back.
Could be overcooking though.
They're under right now.
This is an overcook. I mean, I guess what he had to have been hooked in there. I refuse to believe Saya willingly dove the Walker at 8 minutes. I will say the kills are worth a lot, and there's a lot of very low players in the melee creeps. They got to play these next few moments carefully. Giving up these counter kills is really expensive when you're this far ahead, right? You give up a kill this far ahead, it's a huge amount of comeback souls for the opposition.
Okay, so
Saya's back in the action.
Okay, killing to Rocane. Okay, so FPS Lounge they have to get the urn. It's going to be a comeback urn. They have to secure it and get it safely away to that comeback urn spot. I feel like the game is like hinging on this now, Jake, at this point. They're so far ahead, 11k, 10k difference. 10 minutes is just almost unheard of, really, at this point.
Yeah, like, if the comeback urn is your way back into the game, but if you end up getting like like, God forbid you end up actually losing the urn and the enemy team gets the dunk, like, the game can be over. I mean, truly, it can be over. If everything goes perfect, you're still going to be behind. That's the crazy spot about a lead like this. The first urn is worth, like, what, 3,300 souls or something like that? It's not enough to bridge this divide. Maybe if you get a team fight win on top of it, but winning the team fight is what feels impossible the way this game has gone so far. I mean, other than, like, getting hooked under Walker, it just, you don't see the vision. Slowing Hex prevents the next Sanguine. Luckily, low main plays his way out of it.
There we go. That comeback on is starting to spawn in. 4 players for melee creeps here, so they're ready to challenge. 4 players for FPS Lounge. Again, they're pretty starved of souls right now. Erebus with a deep pull onto the ship.
Hook.
That's a really good find.
Oh, Lefa could die? Oh, this is so painful. Lefa dies to the bleed out as well.
Melee creeps are going to pick up the urn. There's no way that they can turn this in, though. I don't think they want to risk that, but they can hold on to it. Or
They
do
are
they
gonna
try
lock
to turn it
in.
in? I don't know.
The way they're playing, I will not write it off. I mean, they like Saya died under the Walker at 7 minutes. Like, they might actually go for this one, Dan. And the way their draft plays, I kind of think you want to. I kind of think you want any fight you can possibly get your hands on. As Rokane looks like he has to sack down the lane. He does get a tower for it, but having John pick up that solo kill is exactly what John wants. Now into a 5 streak, more pressure being put on mid. They're going to go for this dunk. I mean, Scout is pathing in there with the urn. Full HP Viscous with a vitality buff. He's not scared of anything.
Is there a way to stop this? FPS Lounge can't stop this. Is there a stone form, something? He's trying to time it, but it's like
beautiful.
really good bouncing and dodging coming in there from Scout. Oh my god, they get the comeback and that's crazy. Well, I guess Puckett's gonna get an extra game of Deadlock in tonight. At this rate.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have a lot of time. We might be hitting a speed run. I mean,
Anyone want to play against Liquor? I'm creating a group. We're going for him tonight.
Chat, hit a bucket, get him on the duo queue. Somebody's got to carry this guy. Riposte? Looks like it got kind of caught on the corner there, but it's still enough to get Ido out of dodge. And 10k soul lead, 11 minutes. It's been, the bleeding has been staunched somewhat, but losing that comeback urn, it really bites.
Now, I will say, okay, well, hold on for a second. There's another catch here onto Dew, just isolated. That's a nice find. But yeah, I will say, you know, there's obviously still a lot of time left to play. You wouldn't imagine melee creeps are going to misplay advantages too heavily. So it's going to be very hard for FPS Lounge to find a way back in. But what a story it would be if they're able to find recovery here. With that said, Lefa's getting caught by himself. There's no way you go escaping Silver and Apollo.
I'm earning my paycheck today.
It's 10k difference.
All these kills on Lefa starting to add up, right? He's pretty significantly behind the game now on an Infernus where, you know, he likes to push the pace and force all these fights. But here we can see when it sort of goes wrong and when the game is really going against you, that style ends up getting punished pretty hard. Draft from the melee creeps. It's doing exactly what it's designed to do. 2 more kills picked up. Still everybody healthy on melee creeps. They're continuing to push forward here, looking for more. Sending players running for the hills. It feels like this is all you can really do on FPS Lounge. Just try to run and reset and make space. But pressure's coming in. Multiple lanes at once. Mid Walker going down first would be ideal here for the creeps.
Yeah, keeping the walkers up is everything. And I don't think they're going to be able to do it here, losing everything. One more walker left to go after this one.
2 walkers at once is crazy work, but it looks like players coming in for FPS Lounge trying to get the cleanup. Vitality San does come in, but in the end, the hook from the Bebop just prevents him really getting out of there. But you take that. I mean, 1 death for a walker, maybe a 2nd death, actually. Saya surely is going to get caught here.
Might be able to escape. Silver is very mobile, and the Erebus is very far back with the hooks.
Saya. In the end, though, he is going to get overwhelmed. So it's 2 kills for a walker.
What is the kill score right now? It's got to be crazy in this game.
Probably better than 7-1, but like these last few kills, you get them, but melee creeps are letting you have them, right? They're making a decisive choice to take the trade and to just, you know, pick up the walker.
Let's push yellow.
Okay, 14k difference. At this time of the game is pretty enormous. We'll see if there's a way back. There is a catch here, potentially. Slash is hard to lock down, but that chain gang might make the difference. It's going to pull him straight in there. And we have the slam down on top of it, so should be enough damage with the burn as well. Another isolated kill, and it looks like a team fight is going to result after this. And I don't know if this is going to be working out good for the FPS Lounge. They're going to actually be able to disperse, so they get away with that one, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, with concussive and Billy Chain used for 1 kill, I don't think you want to stick around for more, but that's the state of the game they're in. I think it's a good move. You got to just commit whatever it takes to get some of these kills. Take a look at the pure carry farm game, and actually Rokane is doing a good job keeping pace with John. So I think despite this soul disadvantage, as long as your carry has the damage, there is always a chance, right? There's always a way for, you know, your team to actually make a comeback kind of a team fight. The thing you must have is damage. You're not going to have survivability. You're not going to have like lockdown tools that you would have with a higher net worth. But if you just have the damage, it's possible to get the kills. It's possible to get those comeback fights. Another advantage earn turn in, but it looks like actually FPS Lounge are going to be forcing the issue first. They're looking to siege a walker of their own, but there's a big defensive response coming in. Could make this one a really punishing team fight. Mid boss, remember, available now if you're able to get a really decisive fight. Leffa, the heal from Ivy looks to be just barely enough to keep him alive, and see if Lash has done enough. Found 2 with the Death Slam, follows it up. Quick kill on the hydration now. Dew is a little bit low, but the rest of the creeps are healthy. They are going to continue to push this for a chase down.
Very aggressive, still pushing as always, and looking to pick up another comeback. Actually, I think it got dropped, actually. I think there was a melee.
Right,
yeah, it's right down on the ground. I don't know if they have enough, though, here. FPS Lounge to contest it. They don't.
Oh, man. And, second advantage turn into the game. Like,
crazy.
These, it's not just the souls, right? It's also the permanent buffs, which are going to really add up. I believe that's the second earn dunk rate from Scout, and so he's sitting pretty. Like, that plus 220 HP, like, that is not bad, man. On Viscous, that is pretty meaningful when it comes to surviving some of these burst kills. Temp from Erebus, speculative laser in the mid lane. Just gets kited out by melee creeps who really a bit low on ultimates for now. Looks like they want to just maybe reset their HP. Maybe FPS Lounge wants to force the issue though.
Here we go. It's going to be Snake's coming in for the initiation. Around the back here, trying to isolate Saya. Viking form? I don't know if they're, it must be on cooldown. Still continuing here, giving more opportunity for the rest of melee creeps to come in, but both teams deciding to fall back out of this fight, neither liking the looks of it in the end. Leffa trying to catch up on some farm as well to be effective. Leffa's actually pretty deep in no man's land at the moment, and he might get caught.
Got to take risks in a game like this. And Furnace loves to be able to like bait a chase and maybe slip out. But it looks like they're aware of him, maybe hearing the footsteps. It looks like he has made it away to the TP though. And I think plays like this are really important when you're behind, right? You got to take risks and kind of go for some gamble moves. Maybe bait the enemy to over respond and pull out, or maybe like bait them into a bad team fight. I mean, I think FPS Lounge, they're absolutely playing to win this game, but they're in such a rough spot. They need a lot of things to go right from here. 15k soul lead. It's not as backbreaking as it was like, 5 minutes ago, but it's still a pretty brutal spot to be with Geist at 23k.
Like you said, the statue buff difference is going to be adding up. I don't know if we can take a look at that in a moment. You can see what the deficit looks like there.
It looked pretty big, right?
Whoa!
They're basically just roughly doubling them, right, overall, and that's pretty meaningful. Every sinner you take, right, like, even if the enemy gets the comeback souls to make the soul count look the same, they're never going to recover those permanent buffs, right? Those last forever. And they are pretty meaningful, especially the later into the game you get. Like, I think people underestimate how much of your strength is actually in those permanent buffs. Like, Saya has so few, or not Saya, rather, Erebus on the Bebop has so few that he's pretty much just relying on his items.
Both teams thinking of fighting here, Jake. We've got the disarming hex ready to go for the Viscous. Scout picked that up recently. And at the same time, Mina was like calling the positions as well. And in fact, look, you can see that melee creep sending a hit squad there to find the Mina. They have a lot of ways to shut down Mina, and Leffa's come into the action as well, but they're 2v3 there, so not a good spot here for FPS Lounge. They're gonna have to fall away from this. This is the two slipperiest characters though for FPS Lounge.
Trades in the mid lane. I mean, melee creeps just going for these little incursions on the opponent side of the map. Very confident move here from Ido. Doesn't get much, but does get that curse. Is it connected to the Mina? No, looks like she got the Sanguine to get out of it, but the Lash ulti slams player back in, and the rundown comes in. Low main takes a few key ultimates, 3 in fact, to bring him down, but I think it's well worth it. Although, hold on, this Billy Chain pulls Silver back into the wrong neighborhood, getting absolutely swarmed by the rest of FPS Lounge. Furnace here with the ultimate is going to dissuade any kind of further chase down, but maybe Melee Creeps want to continue to fight this. Ult's running low for FPS Lounge.
Yeah, really good work. I think, again, like you said earlier, Rokane is a huge threat. Good fight set up for Rokane to get that damage in. The ult came in earlier, but now the fight looks like a re-engage for Melee Creeps. They're actually sending back FPS Lounge to the base, and looks like that's excursion will be cut short. And I mean, what better timing than this to get priority? Both buff spawn. Those are going to be free for Melee Creeps. They're going to grab another urn as well. This is a neutral urn too, so it's going to be very hard to deny that. But at the same time, the soul difference is still not that bad, considering everything we've seen so far. And it is a contest here. I can't believe it. Snakes is going to pick up the urn, and he's going to try to get out of here. Ido might be able to try to get a melee in, but looks like he's able to get away.
John baiting. He's still relatively healthy and has that swap in the back pocket. Could be a big fight here. Nice riposte from Ido. Gets the stun on the left, but breaks the flame dash. And now they're looking to run down more. Fishcake, super low HP, but with the movement buff, maybe he'll be able to play his way out of it. Some players still committed. Rokane still actually looking for more out of this fight. Mina is very, very deep low main. Some good jukes would be crucial right now. Picks up some creeps on his way through. A meal to go there, and it looks like he's out.
This is actually really well played by Lomain. He's entertained players so long that they're going to get the urn and also the information, right? Lomain also getting the info that, hey, they're all chasing me. You got a free path to the urn, and now the turnaround to the mid boss.
Oh, wow.
Is there a world here where this could work out for FPS Lounge? I'm not sure, but they're going to contest this. They have to. Leffer is coming in hard off the zip line as well. He's got concussive combustion for the disrupt in the team fight as well.
Yeah, I think going for mid boss would be a bit ill-advised here. FPS Lounge senses a bit of weakness. They're going to look to chase, but remember, a lot of ults still available for melee creeps. I don't think you want to be overconfident right now. I think FPS Lounge, that urn dunk has really equalized the soul situation of the game.
Wow, 4K.
Yeah, what was looking like kind of a blowout match. Some good team fighting and stabilized fights from FPS Lounge. Like, honestly, I was thinking them as a team that, like, look, you find them in a spot this disadvantage. I didn't think they'd be able to pull a comeback, but they have essentially done it in terms of at least equalizing, right? Stabilizing from a game that looked like it could have been over in 25.
And now we can start to think about some of that scaling power as well. Erebus is very poor, but Rokane on the Venator and Leffer, they're looking like the healthy ones on the economy as well as low main. So there's definitely some power behind some of these players. There's a chain gang coming on through to try to catch the Apollo, played by Ido. And the fight continues here. Billy just trying to tank the guys here. Metal Skin coming up, though. That's going to allow some extra sustain there for John. Staying at the front of this one. And now isolating Leffer. So I'm not able to really take that fight, though. Has to fall away. And this is a very, very brittle skirmish for both teams at this point. A hugely important fight. The mid-boss is on the line as well. The slam down comes on through, and it's going to be a dodge from the lash. Oh, no, the pull comes in. What a pull from Erebus.
Looks like it cancels the lash ult. Tyler comes in from Ido. Is it going to be enough to find the kills? The kills actually coming in faster for FPS Lounge, and right into the trap is Ido. Running low on skills. He's just flawless advance out of this fight. Hooked in as well. Erebus with another high impact kill in the team fight. And with mid-boss just minutes away here, I mean, this could be, or rather moments away here, this could be not only a turnaround in the tempo of the game, but this could be FPS Lounge taking a decisive lead. Melee creeps don't have any obvious tool to help them contest.
Ido's coming in, but there's 4 down. Somehow there's 4 down for melee creeps as the mid-boss is getting ticked away, but the harass comes on through, and now the Rejuve Crystals comes down. There's 2 players. Are they going to die for this? The remainder of melee creeps. There's no way to stop it. The Stoneform, every tool used. 3 Rejuve Crystals. Absolutely wild from FPS Lounge. Looking to clean up the entire map now. They have good wave prio on the left walker and mid as well. But everybody's going to be up here for melee creeps. You don't want to overcook here, Jake. What do they have to do to make sure they can lock in the advantage?
Crazy recovery here from FPS Lounge. I mean, like you said, low main, baiting them around with the Mina, making a ton of space. Now he's looking for more in the fight, but Sling Hex out on him. No Dispel Magic. Needs the save from Hydration, so lucky to have the IV in the back pocket. Mina, of course, probably one of the best heroes in the game at like re-healing to full after you take a bunch of damage. He's just gonna be able to basically farm up without any interruption.
Wow, this is kind of crazy. 12 kills to 23. And we are seeing such a different game state now. That golden statue buff, obviously, difference is certainly sizable. So that is something that will be helpful for melee creeps down the line. But right now, in terms of scaling, Jake, where are we in a game of the scalers? Because you've got Venator and Infernus and Mina against...
Yeah, I actually think the game is crazy because of how much of this game has been melee creeps completely dominating, but the problem is melee creeps draft needed to dominate. Like that was the game plan, but also it's kind of the only game plan. I don't see Geist hard solo carrying this because Bebop is even going to scale, right? Like Ivy is even going to scale. And Billy, like literally all 6 heroes in FPS Lounge are going to feel pretty scaled and effective in the late game. Like, I mean, Geist has to build a lot of vitality. She's not all in on gun, really, in terms of the amount of raw damage she can deal. And I'm very worried about a rejuve fight because so many of these kills from melee creeps come from big nukes, cooldown restricted abilities that are great and they do set you up well, but they don't win you an extended team fight into rejuves. You have to just death slam the Infernus completely away from the team fight, but there's going to be help coming in. Lefa does lose his first rejuve. Actually, hold on. Is there help? It looks like maybe this is just a clean double kill. They're continuing to chase this one down. They're flying the Billy in to try to bring in support. Lefa needs to last just a few seconds longer. With Billy arriving, though, maybe they've done enough. Chain gang in onto 2, pulls them in deep. John does still have the swap, but don't think that's actually going to be able to turn this fight. He doesn't think so either. He's trying to just dance his way away here on the Geist, but they're able to find him. Oh, maybe not. Good pad away there from John. Would have been huge to find a carry kill off the back of that.
And Lomain's be doing work here, deep in enemy lines there, trying to harass these opponents, not really allowing melee creeps to kind of combine forces. And right now, a 20k advantage for FPS Lounge. It's so impressive. And the left side Walker is soon to be under assault. There will be 2 players dispatched by melee creeps to try to deal with the forces there. But FPS Lounge, they're going to pull off a little bit. Perhaps maybe bait melee creeps into a fight. They've got 5 players here, FPS Lounge. They are ready to jump this, Walker.
Yeah, and Ido, he's up in a few seconds. You might feel confident on melee creeps, but he's not there in the fight just yet. Look at Rokane stepping up, daring the enemy to do something about it. He is going to bring this Walker down come hell or high water, and I think melee creeps are going to just respect that, backing off to the base. Even with Lefa showing on the opposite side lane, they do not want to take that fight. That's pretty telling about the game state.
Headed to green.
25k soul deficit now for melee creeps, and there's not really anything on the map to eat up to try to recover that deficit. So right now it's a very dangerous place, the Cursed Apple, if you are melee creeps, because you've got that threat of Erebus that could hook you in at any given moment, the mobility from Mina, as well as also from the Infernus. I mean, and also, obviously, what you can do with an Ivy drop as well. Like, there's all sorts of ways for the opponents to get the drop onto you. Got the human ward there to try to get some information in the form of snakes on the Billy. And Sire actually going for the pause lock.
I will say, as this rejuve expires, Soul Lead is real, and I believe the FPS Lounge team scales better, but this melee creeps team is insane at finding burst pickoffs. So players splitting up, trying to be greedy, extend that advantage, are going to be vulnerable to some of those potential kills. Definitely opportunity here for melee creeps to come back into it, but it needs to be executed incredibly well. We've seen how hard it is to punish heroes like the Infernus on the side wave, which is, I think, likely going to be what you need to do on melee creeps to come back into this, to find pickoffs on side laners. Because for FPS Lounge side, I think they're going to be perfectly happy to just farm up in the jungle, go deeper and deeper to the late game, and really put the scaling of melee creeps to the test, where I kind of suspect it's going to be lacking if it's essentially just Geist on the gun carry.
Oh. Maybe like
I think he's just
or something, I'm not sure.
I think he's just, sending a message saying, come contest me. I'm holding the high ground. I mean, there's nothing else to really do at this phase of the game, actually. So this is just going to be a bit of a stalemate, I think, probably until the buffs come up. I mean,
gotta get info.
FPS Lounge are going to be perfectly happy with the stalemate, though, and I think it's going to be melee creeps who will sort of be feeling the pressure to do something.
Let's go yellow.
Can we get a very quick golden statue buff update? I wonder if there's any more parity there.
Okay.
Looking a lot better.
Well,
looking a lot
Fishcake
more
has
even.
come back with a vengeance. Actually, I think it's a little bit of a lead here for melee creeps, so getting a bit more out of the map in these last few minutes.
I see the enemy.
I guess it was that early game advantage that's more it's holding on rather than the last few minutes being so good for them.
And there's a pick attempt here in mid coming from FPS Lounge. You got Erebus deep. He's going to have to fall off as well. You can see low main on the Mina was in position as well to maybe capitalize on any hooks. But we got the mid boss coming up again, and that's where this game is going to get interesting because, you know, you can force the mid boss a little bit. You can try to, you know, fake it out. But all of the jungle respawning again here now.
Snakes, kind of in enemy territory here. Buff's only spawning in 30 seconds. Billy's a pretty hard target, though, and he's got that chain gang, so if you commit on him, you could end up getting pulled way deeper than you intend to. Hydration gonna bail him out, and actually considering turning this run around aggressively, right? Setting that Billy in with the chain could be attractive. Melee Creeps, though, knows it's coming. They're gonna be a little bit careful, but with the wave crashing, both side waves at the same time, sticking around on these buffs doesn't look like to be an option. So double buff gonna be claimed here for FPS Lounge. A nice win for them. Spirit buff for Mina is a great find, and a mobility for Infernus. Not gonna be mad at that either.
Again, a positioning battle. Superior here for FPS Lounge. Again, they got the lead, so able to do that. But now with the mid boss spawning, what's the play here from Melee Creeps? They could decide to try to find an engagement here. If this Ernie keeps getting carried across, sometimes you can get a catch on a player that's at the back of the formation.
Hook in mid could be devastating here. Erebus gotta choose his targets wisely, though. He's also gonna be vulnerable. Hook deep onto Saya. Will Saya be able to get that Lycan from off? Looks like he will, but he's pulled into the trap and just exploded even before it can come off. Deathslam, no value. Knocks Nostra silences him. There's a concussive combustion up in his face. Already 2 players hit the deck. John is forced to swap. And FPS Lounge, 6 players alive, healthy, looking for more.
And here goes low main as well now. Taking down Ido. Able to get out just for the moment, but the chase down is ready. There's so many players here looking to do this, and low main will be the one to get the finishing shots.
And he healed. The tree knives are going to bleed him out. And they do eventually kill him, but 4 for 1. Absolutely worthy trade with mid boss available, and even Snakes might be able to get a cheeky dunk in while players are contesting.
There you go. Mid boss a lot easier. Even this time, I mean, actually last time they actually got 4 players down before the mid boss. I mean, it's crazy. Hail Mary steal attempts might come on through here, but I mean, there's not too much to work with. There's the
cube. He's got the cube, but they're just going to kill the Shiv before I mean, they're finishing the mid boss while Shiv's in the cube. A little bit of a comment on the state of this game. Dew is very tanky, though. He stayed alive into this. Gonna have to be real desperation parries, but he just gets blasted away by the Venator shotgun. Scout rolling around, not long for this world either. All these gun carries, man. The Eye of Sauron just turns to the goo ball, evaporates him. And hold on, Amber Shrine taking some damage. All right, you got to fix your base here, FPS Lounge. But after you do that, I think this one is looking pretty grim now for Melee Creeps.
Yeah, there's not a lot to do at this point. Oh, I still can't believe the ability for the FPS Lounge to like come back in this game. They were getting absolutely destroyed. Getting totally mogged throughout the entire first like 15 plus minutes of the game.
Stoneform on Ivy. Is there going to be a hook? Yes, there is. Pulls Ido, I think, very, very deep. The counterspell comes out, though. Looks like blocks the bomb from going on to him. And going to cut their losses here. FPS Lounge playing this one pretty slow and steady, right? Split, farming the map a little bit here. Rokane and Lefa trying to get just a little bit of extra farm out of the waves in the jungle that they can. I mean, they went from a completely empty jungle to like a 2-minute team fight, and now the entire map is theirs to be taken. Given the scaling situation in this game too, I don't think they're in much of a rush to force this rejuve, but they've got maybe at least another minute before they really need to force something.
I mean, yeah, they could really just extract maximum value out of the map.
Yeah, like they're getting everything, man. They're getting all the sinners at once. Like, look at the mini map, right? When you have all 6 players split like this, it is so efficient for your farming. It's the most effective way to farm. The weakness is that the enemy team can come out and try and kill you, but Melee Creeps, the fact that they're not even attempting that speaks to their state of mind at this moment in the game, right? They don't even believe it's possible. They should know that there's efficient jungling going on. And to be honest, waiting it out is like, I guess I understand it, but I think FPS Lounge, look at them last game. They went for it in situations like this. Like, I don't think, not just saying it's going to make this more likely for you to win, but I think it's kind of your only chance to go try to punish. If you allow this net worth lead to get, this is going to be like a 100K net worth lead at the end of the rejuve if you don't do something about it.
I think part of it is that, you know, what they made sure to do FPS Lounge is to show Erebus. So they're showing that, hey, they could get a pick. If they get a hook, there could be more players behind that. And here, there you go. Snakes is ready with the Rising Ram. And once again, Sire's in a lot of trouble there, getting chased down. They should be able to live this one out, though. But Erebus also looking pretty good on the itemization at this point, doing a lot of damage there. And then just forcing Metacrease back into the base once again.
Yeah, every time you take one of these trades, you risk that, like, hey, you get hooked just that little bit too deep, and things go wrong. Now with the rejuve starting to get low, FPS Lounge are going to make their move, coming deep into the base. Swap comes in onto Rokane's Venator, but he's playing well here in the corners in these rooms. Being chased down, but John's running out of gas, and the heals from Ivy are insane. They sustain him back to full. Almost 2,500 healing in just a few seconds there from Hydration and Rokane. Wombo combo in the late game, and the game is just done, man. Melee Creeps not even able to get a single rejuve crystal down just yet.
Amazing, really. I mean, this is the kind of game that, you know, when you win a game like this, like, let's not also forget that Melee Creeps, they won the first map. If they won this map, that's it. That's game over. You're playing with no lives left if you're FPS Lounge, and they managed to bring it back from a deficit like they did, like from not just a deficit, but the entire start was completely scuffed.
It was one of the most extreme advantages in the early game, frankly, we've seen in like months in the night shift, right? Like it was truly like maybe the most in months. And now we come to the end of the game and it just looks like stock standard FPS Lounge full comfort dominating the server. But man, I thought this game could have been over like 20 minutes ago, frankly, given the state of how dominant those early lanes are. But FPS Lounge, they weathered the storm, and like you're saying, that's a momentum shift for this series. Melee Creeps really need to adjust things in a major way. It's also not easy to do. Do you look at this game and say, hey, our draft was good, we have that advantage, we just messed up? Or do you say, maybe we should draft a little more scaling, maybe we should prepare a little bit more for the late game? It's not obvious to me what direction you go from here as a Melee Creep.
Shoppy's excited. We're going to a game 3, ladies and gentlemen. Great stuff from FPS Lounge. I went upstairs to get my KFC, and by the time I came back, they had somehow taken a 25K soul disadvantage and taken the lead. What did I miss, DDK? Was it a mid-boss? Was it like back-to-back team fights? What was the swing in that one?
Honestly, it's kind of interesting because there wasn't any one moment when they were recovering that deficit. They got to a point where, I don't know, they were just clawing it back very slowly, obviously benefiting from the comeback souls, but they gave away 2 comeback urns on there. So the 10-minute urn and the 15-minute urn were both comeback urns for FPS Lounge, and Melee Creeps turned them in. And
yeah,
like 20 kills ahead.
It's just like, this game's over.
Yeah, usually if you could do 2 enemy side comeback urns to start the game, right, it is just a terrible, terrible scenario to find yourself in. It's so hard to come back from there. And I think ultimately what it comes down to is just some really clean executions. I think a couple little overextensions from Melee Creeps where maybe they feel overconfident. Maybe they're thinking the same way we are, like, oh, we did these comeback urns, like we're dominating this game so hard. But given the comp they had, I just don't think they had room for those kind of mistakes, right? You come in for some kills, Erebus gets like 1 hook, a big trade kill comes in, and I also want to give a lot of credit to Lomain's Mina, right? We saw quite a few moments where his ability to just distract and delay and to create confusion meant, hey, free objectives, free urns for FPS Lounge, recover them a lot of the soul advantage, and then you get that one good team fight, mid bosses around. This is, though, I think is that team fight, right? Erebus hooks Fishcake out of the sky, kills him here, and I think he finds even more into this team fight. So huge, huge moment to really turn the game around here around the mid lane.
The Gunbot doing massive damage. He is undefeated on the night. I might be wrong on that, but I think I'm right. Here we go. We're going to a game 3, and I feel like we're not going to see Bebop in it. Will we, DDK?
I think it's still quite possible. Yeah, it might just be that Bebop could get a bit more prioritized, maybe.
It's hard because you're not going to first ban him, right? Like, there's no way you first ban him. He's not that much of like a meta-breaking, hero. But also, it's been going in the first 3, so he doesn't tend to get banned in the second phase. I think it's likely we will see Bebop throughout the series.
Erebus earned our sidekick of the week last week with his performance on FPS Lounge using the Bebop. See if he gets it again. 745 viewers just coming in. Oh, rather, those are bits. It's a small screen on my side. Let's go full screen and talk about the numbers, though, as we take a look on the left side. Clearly, the Ven pretty good at his job. What else impressed you, DDK, numbers-wise?
I think Low Main had a great game on Mina. I think Jake already called it out. Did a really good job, like just keeping them very competitive in these fights by being extremely good as a distraction and very strong at the juking. And I mean, obviously, there's a good kit to do it with Mina, but you have to be very, very high skill as Low Main is to get the maximum usage out of it. And I think, you know, just sending the information to his teammates also in doing all of that was really, really phenomenal. But this is the thing, like with all of like everything that happened in this game, everybody has to turn up. And that's absolutely what happened.
They did it. Can they do it again? They got the job done last week. Melee Creeps trying to reclaim the throne. But it'll take a game number 3. As we break down final thoughts on this one, are there an individual on each side of this? Is it a style? Like, how would you break it down to a new fan, Jake? What are you witnessing here in the NA battle?
Yeah, I really, for me, I look a lot at these like movement-based frontliner players. You know, I think about maybe like an Ido versus a Low Main kind of a battle when I watch the two teams play. I think that tends to be a really important role at this level where from Low Main in like a really difficult game, he still sort of has to come out there and take those fights. Like, you know, playing passive at the back, not a winning option, right? You got to be able to take those risks. Look at players like Leffa as well, being willing to like, hey, I'm on your side of the map. I'm farming. You got to come stop me, and I'll just, you know, make a play, evade, space and time, bot for everyone else to farm. It's those moments that I think kind of kept FPS Lounge in this last game. But just the flip side is like some small adjustments here and there can turn those like big plays into just, hey, free pickoffs if the enemy catches you and punishes you at the right time. So both teams, I think, playing really well, but Melee Creeps, it's going to really sting for them that they had an enormous lead like that and couldn't close it out. Like, that is pretty egregious. And even though, yeah, the other team had better scaling than you, I don't think it's completely crazy that they came back there. It certainly is going to feel terrible with how much they must have felt that they had almost already won with those 2 earned dunks.
Any worries that they're mentally boomed, Dan?
I mean, you know, hopefully they can reset, but I do think it doesn't feel good for sure. And I think it's something that, but I think in terms of the mental, I think it's more of a boost for FPS Lounge than it is necessarily a negative. I do think that Melee Creeps have the capacity to kind of reset, but they're not going to go in quite as confident, and FPS Lounge are going to feel really great. I think it's the draft here, which is going to make things really interesting because it could go in a very crazy way at this point. If you're Melee Creeps, you could just get really experimental with this. I feel like at this point, especially with the hero pools that they have to play with, and I think you don't let Rokane get onto Venator too. He did. I think he was kind of an X factor, just as a final point for me, because I think there was a moment in the game where it was actually surprising how farmed Rokane was. And then when the setups came, he was able to absolutely delete Sire on the opening, space taking with that Silver. I think those moments were kind of, we saw that a few times. So Rokane, props to him.
Well, a bookie said I have to put hydration on ice or he'll break my knees. Guys, we're going to commercial break. When we come back, the Red Hot FPS Lounge looks to keep it going against the cat suit people with hands or paws. Which are they? Brr. Right on time as always. It's the Deadlock Night Shift. Welcome back, everybody. Jake, DDK, and Puckett. We're all different heights, but we're the same people. Everyone has different posture. Jake has the best. DDK has the second best. I have the worst. Dan, let's start with you, though. When it comes to posturing in game, who has done a better job tonight between Melee Creeps and FPS Lounge? Who looks more dominant on the map throughout the game?
So I think one of the things that contributed heavily to FPS Lounge doing such a great job coming back in the last map was their team positioning, their team posturing was really excellent. They had all the right players in sort of all the right places, so they could support Erebus when the hooks came in. All of the spacing for Rokane. I mean, it's so important as the Venator that you're alive throughout the entire fight. The other team's really good. They know that. They're going to try to find ways to be disruptive on your backline, such as Venator can be in these fights. And the way that was handled so that he could get maximized was great. And also, you had a really good job from Low Main on the Mina, being able to be that disruptive force to the opponent's backline as well. So I think just the whole team coordination was really good from FPS Lounge in that game, because they were on a knife's edge for a very long time. So I mean, if they can repeat that, then they're going to have an edge for sure.
Jake, our local looks maxer, what do you got for us going into this final game in NA?
Yeah, I think it's just been an interesting series, because if you look at it on like a total time of these last two maps, Melee Creeps have been dominating and like probably feeling really good about their performance for like 80% of the clock time. And it's only in the most recent 20% where FPS Lounge turned the game around and win it in their favor. Now we're going game 3. It's a full reset, obviously. But mentally, it's going to be interesting to see whether Melee Creeps having like overall more success through the series matters more, or if FPS Lounge saying like, hey, we figured you out, we found the answers, we responded, and now we know how to win. Maybe that's going to end up being the trump card. So really excited to see this game 3. I feel like it's anybody's game. And I think the draft is going to get wild, because honestly, both of these teams, they have really different perspectives on the heroes they want, on the style they want to play. And really, it's hard to call who's going to end up coming out on top.
And then DDK, what's more important, your coach deciding the draft or the in-game leader?
It's definitely going to be a combination of what the players want and the coach wants, because the coach is going to have a really good idea as to how everyone plays and performs, and sort of what the what's going to be good against what the opponent is trying to draft, or how they're going to try to counter draft you. But it also does come down to what the players are comfortable on. You don't want to stick a player on something that they're not feeling good on. So there is kind of like a mix there, where sometimes it's going to be more important to prioritize the comfort of the player over what could be kind of on the paper like the optimal pick. So there's always that. But at this level, I think all the players on both of these teams have a diverse enough hero pool that it shouldn't be too crazy. Like, I don't think we should be in any spots where anyone's uncomfortable.
Yeah, we got the draft loading up here. This will decide who's walking away with our money. Thanks to Shopify, we have a record-setting prize pool starting amount, and you can add to it with !donate. Find out that link in the chat. Go ahead and add to it. It goes directly to the players. Any of the other tips goes to the crew to keep the shifts working properly. We got to take a look here at our first ban, and Viper will not be permitted in this lobby. A first ban on Viper. Was that necessary?
That might be the first time ever. That might be the first time ever we've seen an overall first ban on Viper. You know what? I don't hate it. I do think what we saw from Viper in that game was like actually terrifying, and maybe you just don't want to match out against it.
That's such a Hufflepuff move, bro. Getting rid of Viper first.
That's targeted, man. That is a targeted at Fishcake, but you got to put some respect on Fishcake. The guy pulls out some of these like wild and wacky picks. He was, I think, the first person to play Graves when she was like sort of unpicked in the meta.
Not cool.
And it is an overall first pick, Dynamo. Oh, baby. It's the professor's world. We are just living in it. What a beautiful time to be a Deadlock fan.
Do Melee Crews have the Sinclair? Because I don't think they've been put in this position yet today. So I'm curious if they'll bring out the Sinclair, right? So
you might just get like Venator and Furnace and just like, okay.
I am shocked though, Jake, that they gave up the Venator, because Rokane has been insane on it.
Yes.
And you're giving it to John. It's like, it's actually such a bold decision.
God, Venator Silver is just so terrifying. I'm like, the Dynamo overall first pick is so cool, but all right, I will say,
like since this update, these two characters have been in the very high portion of our success ratings.
I will say, I think you go in Furnace Bebop right here, and Silver is not looking so good. Like, I think Silver struggles against heroes that just kite her and like mess with her mobility. Bebop feels really easy to play into Silver. I mean, she can just kill you sometimes, but if you have your teammates around you, like she's super easy to hook and save your allies from her. The Infernus is insane at kiting her. You just ignite her and flame dash away, and she's not really ever gonna do much about it. The disarm doesn't really hurt on Infernus as long as you've already ignited her. And Dynamo's great at saving people from Silver, right? Of just quantuming them away. So I think this first 3 from FPS Lounge, I was questioning it when they gave up Silver Venator, but I kind of think I'd rather be FPS Lounge with the first half of the draft done.
Is there a hard counter to Infernus or a character that slows him down?
You basically just need hard stuns. That's like the basically what counters him is stunning him while he's flame dashing. Problem is actually hitting some of these hard stuns while he's flame dashing is pretty difficult. Because he's, can move so fast. You're already, burning down. You got to think, should I even try? Should I just run away? And Infernus also buys a ton of like escape tools and active green items that get him out of trouble. So if you're struggling with Infernus hero games, I would recommend anti-heal and hard stuns. But in this level, Infernus is just pretty good.
Sinclair ban. There we go.
Yeah,
that's really good insurance. Like, I feel like, you just got to do it.
No Dynamo. Double down. Is that what you're worried about with the Sinclair, or why is he a threat? Well, you want to make sure you got him banned out. Same thing with the Abrams.
So I think with the Sinclair, like the thing is that Sinclair can be a nice counter to Dynamo because you can just steal the ult, and then Sinclair also has a Hex, which is like a curse but big AOE, and like they can't dash or anything, so it's like a better thing, a curse. So
and it damage jams them too, so it's
and his gun is actually really strong too. Like his gun damage is very good, so he's just like genuinely a very good hero all around. But the fact that you get Billy, I think, is really nice still, because I was wondering if melee creeps would try to take it away.
Chain Gang pulling players into whether it's a singularity or a concussive combustion, you have 2 really sick AoE stuns to follow up on the Billy chain. They go for the Geist as well, which is just a very comfortable, solid carry pick. I mean, that's sort of how this whole series has been. One team gets Geist, the other team gets Venator. That's essentially the trade both teams are willing to make. I agree, you'd rather be the Venator when it comes to the carry-on-carry battle. And I think the Ivy to combo with Venator also looks pretty good. Getting that fire rate bonus and sharing some of the heals can really help. But Geist can definitely hold her own. And I think especially against somebody like Shiv or Silver, it can be really nice to be able to say, hey, congrats on your 4,000 HP, Shiv. How about you take my 500 HP and we'll trade.
Interesting, because I was going to say, for melee creeps, I mean, obviously, Ida's going to be on Mina, so that's why we're getting a Yamato instead of like an Apollo. But Apollo's still available as a potential. Also for FPS Lounge here, if they want Apollo, it's still like a pretty solid pick, but they're going to go Doorman.
Whoa, okay.
That's
Doorman.
Actually sick.
No one has been playing Doorman.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it after some of the patches.
Are we catching Silver? What's the Doorman's purpose other than ulting and then having everyone focus them when they come out of the Baroness?
I would think ulting Venator is going to be pretty good at most stages of the game because Venator just has pretty terrible mobility. And so him getting out of the hotel is actually like not super easy. But frankly, I don't know what to expect with the Doorman this game. I feel like it kind of is sick in this comp because you have some really nasty teamfight tools. And now you can pull some shenanigans, like either whether you're Bebop hooking them in, they also have to worry about getting Doorman kidnapped like under a walker. I feel like this gives you a really sick tool to get to the ultra late game. Like sieging into a Doorman is incredibly hard when he can like, kidnap you into his own base. That is, I think, particularly difficult to do against the Doorman when you're trying to end games against him and make it clean. I think it's kind of a sick pick, but it's also really meta breaking because to my knowledge, there's not been a single Doorman pick on the night shift since this character has been significantly reworked in one of the recent patches.
Doorman and Infernus. He opens the door for some speedy fireground, says the chat. I don't know if it's actually going to happen. That would be a sick trapdoor trick. What is the real lane situation looking like, though, DDK? If you were the coach of these teams, who do you pair up in each lane?
I mean, I can see a few different things. I think, we've seen that, Geist is probably going to go mid. I think maybe mid pairing with Bebop is really nice because it gives Geist a really strong lane. Bebop's kind of a strong roamer too. The threat he has on the ganks is kind of nice. I think Dynamo probably with either Infernus or Billy. And then Doorman with Billy or Infernus. I think probably Dynamo and Infernus. It tends to be a popular combo.
Yeah, I like
that. What would we do for melee creeps?
Oh, melee creeps. I feel like you actually have a ton of options with these lane combos. I'm not seeing anything that's like super obvious to me. Maybe it's just the Ivy and the Venator in mid. Ivy for, you know, some of the wave clear and some of the supportive, you know, heal exchanging with keeping the Venator stabilized there. And then the side lanes like Yamato, Shiv, Mina, and Silver. You really can't go wrong, from my perspective, I guess, with any of those pairings. They're all sort of like heroes that want to get up in your face, you know, get aggressive, look for kills. And so I think they can all kind of work reasonably well together. It's a good point, though, that Dynamo and Furnace lane, I think that's particularly scary lane. You get knocked up by Dynamo, and then that's almost like a free ignite for Infernus players at this level. It's so easy to track you when you're in that predictable bounce up pattern that things can go really bad when Infernus is getting like consistent ignites on you. Usually he's going to follow that up with really making you sweat and like keeping you burned under tower. So whoever lanes against, you know, specifically that combo is going to have to be super cautious about not getting caught, especially if Ivy's in mid, because I guess like Mina could sanguine away, but even that is like, you don't really level that skill until, you know, a few levels down the lane, a few minutes into the game. So definitely watching that lane to be a particular strong one. And for a player like Leffa, give him a strong start in Infernus. Last game, he had a terrible start, right? And look where we ended up, and he's still able to make a lot of those plays. Give this guy a good start. He can really put on a show.
DDK, true or false? We start this game before Thursday.
I'm hoping. But
you gotta stay prayed up. Stay right.
Are they milking the streams on the player end? I need ZP to stop reading manga and get these games going. FPS Lounge, melee creeps, cat suits versus capybaras with sunglasses. Drop your edibles. I mean the vitamins that keep you going, and do a happy dance. Here we go, friends. It's game 3.
Game 3, decisive between FPS Lounge and melee creeps. For FPS Lounge, holding on to the championship would be pretty insane considering the games so far today. Not been kind to them. They even go with the doorman, gambling it all. Wonder who's going to be piloting that hero in this draft.
I see Shiv.
Yeah, I think, well, I guess we'll find out in a second. I just want to add a quick point on the Infernus as well real fast, because we haven't seen Leffa be in a situation where he could be a bit higher economy in terms of just like the heroes that are on the team in total. But he in this map, he actually has a lot more priority on farm. So I'm really curious how the game will look for Leffa.
Yeah, I think I always want to see Leffa getting some decent economy. Low main on the door, man. For me, this is one of the most exciting players to watch on FPS Lounge. Just a young player who loves to make those flashy, stylish plays. And if he's been practicing the doorman, it's hard to think of a player who I'd have more faith with in terms of their ability to execute and find some of these big late game plays.
A quick note as well for some of maybe the newer players is that when you're in this early laning phase, you're trying to take as little damage as possible. So you're trying to always be aware of where the other two opponents are. And you want to never be exposed to more than one, because you can at least trade damage with one player. But if there's two players that have line of sight on you, you're going to be taking more damage. And so that's, something that you can think about is how you're exposed you are.
Yeah, I feel like the devs nailed the laning in Deadlock so incredibly well. Like, there's such an incredible skill and reward loop and, you know, so much nuance. And yet, even for a beginner, you can still have a lot of fun in the laning phase. So I think that's just, I don't know, at least one of the things that for me has kind of kept me coming back over and over again. More burns in this side wave, although hold on, maybe it's a turnaround. On to Leffa, needs a bit of that rejuvenating Aurora.
Man, I'm loving the doorman pick. I've honestly been waiting for it for a long time. Wow, early kill found in mid here onto John. And I mean, if we think back to the last map, it was melee creeps that were getting all the picks in mid. At this time.
Yeah, already a very different game, right? There already would have been a few kills in this game if we were on the same pace as game 2. And Leffa, oh, this is brutal. Freezing the wave like this, like, you have to come up to these creeps. You don't get a single soul out of the wave. And when Leffa plays the bridge like that, this is advanced laning maneuvers for high-level Deadlock, is intentionally not killing the creeps on your hill so that the waves are meeting in an advantageous position for you to trade. They still get some of the souls out of it though, so mitigates the worst. The worst case scenario is you actually just completely miss the wave, and that is a massive soul deficit if it occurs. Couple denies do come in though, and it looks like a double stacked wave, so an opportunity for a really aggro push here if Left Line Hydration want to go for it.
Oh, good catch, or attempt on a catch onto Lefa. Good course of entanglement though, getting them to safety. This is a very interesting lane actually for a lot of different reasons. Potential ambush there onto the tier 1 camp. And as we have a pause from low main, I'll just add another extra element to Lefa Infernus. So for those of you that maybe don't play Infernus, you may not realize that if you get headshots, it actually builds up the afterburn more quickly. So you can actually get, like if you're perfect and get like a few headshots, you can just like burn people like almost immediately, even early into the game. And Lefa has maybe some of the best aim in the game. So he's very scary to lane against as we see this roam into the mid lane.
Side now, back to the mid after that rotation to the side lane. A lot of damage coming in on the Erebus and the Bebop. You can see they don't really want to put much pressure onto Rocane because they know he can kind of shrug it off. But Bebop he's a big target. Yes, he has a big hitbox, but it's very easy to hit him with skills and just gun damage. So definitely got to be watchful when it comes to a hero like Venator. By the way, John, he might have taken a death in this lane, but getting a lot of solo farm is absolutely keeping pace here with Rocane. So Saya's ability to roam and put pressure down with pretty minimal soul resources is I think one of the reasons so many teams are prioritizing the Silver so highly, is that she's probably one of the most effective heroes with relatively low econ that feels like scales almost every game. It feels like you're just always going to do decently well.
These trades against both Geist and Bebop are horrible. The life drain, it's very, very strong. And on the other end of things, John's trying to get out there as well, do some damage, but got to be very careful you don't lose anything else here because they've already lost some kills in this mid lane. And my god, Saya's going to get sent away. He is so low.
Yeah, Rocane is just chilling in this, right? They keep going for these trades on the Bebop, but he just exacts a high price for it. Even the bomb hits there too, so certainly a high pressure lane here for the melee creeps to hold on in. Double buff went in, a beautiful hook. That should be a kill here onto Silver. He does what damage he can, just going all in, trying to get that trade on the Bebop. John's trying to follow it up as well, and maybe has just done enough with the jump over to the top. Should be clear to get out of that. So 1 for 1 is honestly not bad for melee creeps.
FPS Lounge did get both bridge buffs. They got Vitality buff for low main, who is getting harassed a little bit there. And you've also got the Lefa on the speed buff. Nox Nostra is going to be forced to come out here to try to catch snakes. Doorman shenanigans. Oh, going through with the rake. Is that too much though?
Oh,
trade it out. Is it worth it?
I mean, it does take the vitality buff away, which I think might be worth, but Ido is pretty significantly richer than low main. So actually, I would say in the end, it's probably not.
Yeah, it's always interesting with the trades, but okay.
Snakes is going to be happy about that. He's like, thanks for your sacrifice, low main. I will take that solo kill.
100. And back on the lane again, low main. No Baroness.
Wow, look at the tower taking a lot of damage, man. Like, they have just harassed it down sort of wave by wave. Now Billy's even willing to throw some heavies in. They're going to commit for this tower finish. Couple knives in Billy. He's got to be pretty cautious. There's no Nox Nostra here, so follow-up could be a little bit awkward. And Lomain sticking around, putting some pressure on. Doesn't want to stick around too long, though. Ido's right up in his face. And Lomain is just absolutely fearless here, just playing to door his way out. But, ooh, gets kind of caught on the geometry. Parry's fish kick, though, and that,
oh my god,
that is devious, man.
Oh, that's crazy. I was wondering what he was up to. Like, why is he going for like a healing trooper or something? Like,
I knew he was gonna like door out, but
base.
He stayed around way too long. Like, that was greedy, man.
He must have just been like, they'll never expect me to run towards their like side of the lane, and then I can get the cooldown on the door. Crazy. Okay, well, it's a good start here for FPS Lounge. They're ahead 4K early. This is a decent lead. Not like the crazy lead we saw in the previous map, but this is like a more normal, like solid lead at this time. And there's the Baroness in the mid. And they're just juking around, being really annoying.
Silver is going to take full damage, just gets cooked. Coming out the other side. And when you're low stam, like a 2-stam character, like if you don't have your skills, on silver, like it's pretty hard to ever get out of the Baroness unless you get maybe some stam items or something like that. Deceptively strong, especially when the Baroness gets maxed out and you're able to get most of the cooldown refunded when people fail to check out. Like that is, I think that's legitimately pretty scary in terms of late game team fighting. Like at the prospect of Doorman ulting multiple people in the team fight.
Being a team fight, so we've got an engagement here coming on through again, and I don't know if John John's surviving this one. Sire's going to come out with the wolf form though, so might be able to help keep him alive, but Nox Nostra over the top too. That should surely turn the tide a little bit. John John goes down, so the carry's out, but they at least trade it on for carry.
Yeah, decent trade. I mean, the Nox Nostra is crucial there from Ido because Rokane did have swap. So if he wasn't silenced, he would have been able to likely swap and get back to a healthy spot there. So wise from Saya to kind of play that one slow on the silver, not give up the swap, and then wait for Ido to come in with Nox Nostra to silence.
Still 3 Guardians up here in favor of FPS Lounge as they find a fight on the top level. And Snakes is all about this fight. In the meantime, you've got the hit squad from FPS Lounge. Getting the Guardian left side, now going to mid. 3 players in mid, 4 melee creeps. Might have a fight potentially brewing here, depending on if FPS Lounge want to take it. Looking to defend their Guardian in mid, so it's all on melee creeps. And both teams looking for wave priority now as we're getting closer to that first done at 10 minutes.
Yeah, 3 Guardians for 0, by the way, which is actually going to, I think, be quite nice when it comes to the prio on your ability to grab not only buffs, but also, of course, that crucial urn in the early game. Skill from Erebus, important, but Ivy should still be back in time to defend or threaten for urn. Still, the last 2 buffs both went to FPS Lounge. If they were able to secure another 2, it really does start to feel like the tides have turned. Here comes the Baroness coming out from the doorman. Shiv trying to get his way out of here. Doesn't check out in time, I think. It's close. Okay, no, maybe he does, just barely. He's down to the absolute wire there.
Big fight, but that's Sai has to jump off the top level. Actually getting completely taken out of the fight and is up on the spot now as well. And melee creeps, you know, they have some players, but it feels like the positioning overall for FPS Lounge is a little bit better here as they're looking to go for the kills and just trying to close the distance with the killing blow there. And it looks actually quite good for melee creeps here, trying to tank some damage, take the urn away. Saya coming back into the fight. You got Do here as well in the Yamato. There's a lot of frontline to help get this urn to safety, but it's been knocked out the hands again. The fight for this urn is crazy.
Snakes is just out here brawling on the Billy, and kind of a 1v3 right now, but has the door to kind of back out and play safe. It's not something you really want to come in, given that, of course, it's Lomane who has control of that door, but it seems like Snakes maybe starting to run out of gas. The pressure getting to him on this Billy, just has to kind of try to play his way out of that. Lomane does go down. Lefa follows him into the grave. Do and Ido combining for some big kills now in that team fight. A lot of Walker pressure able to be done by Rokane during that trade, but ultimately, John makes the hold, so you're not actually going to be able to claim a Walker.
Actually had a zip boost from Hydration to get position on the urn drop off as well. So whilst this fight continues in the left lane, there is going to be a defense on the right.
Erebus, 2 quick kills set up by the Bebop. It's going to be really nice for him to be able to buy. See if he goes for slowing hex or fortitude right now. I mean, this is a pretty big power spike for Bebop. This like very early game gun and vitality spike. You can just kind of run around, brawl all over the map, find these team fights at your leisure.
And they can't drop off the urn, you know, they lost positioning, they lost priority on the right side. That's been looked after by Rokane and Hydration, who made his way to that position as well. And so right now the map is kind of being run. These streets are being run by FPS Lounge.
And posturing from Hydration, man. He's willing to like contest even on the opposing team's roof. And there's a 2-for-1 sieging the Walker right now. Mina just has to run away, and Furnace is going to get a free Walker here alongside Bebop. Will it actually be free, though, or will melee creeps be able to get the urn dunk? They almost need to at this point. Ivy trying to get in there, but with the Baroness down, Hydration is out of the fight, so seems like the force is going to continue here for melee creeps. They're trying to get something out of this trade.
Ivy's still not in the fight, and this is a problem. Finally going for the dunk. Trying to time it.
They melee him. Good catch from Snakes.
Oh, wow. It's denied. It's denied, and this could be disastrous.
Are they going to get punished for it? Players now coming into this one. Lefa coming in from behind. Does he want to commit? Seems like the cleanup kills are coming through. FPS Lounge drops a lot of bodies for that. The urn dunk does come in. Lefa grabs a couple of the souls for himself. Has that rapid, but something tells me this concussive is not likely to get off, and just before it goes down, Melee Creeps do get the finish. So like, I think what, 4 or 5 kills in that team fight, huge for Melee Creeps rather, kind of brings them right back into this game.
And that's such a scary situation because for FPS Lounge, you might make the argument that they went in for too much there. They got the left side Walker. You know, the first urn, I think the Walker is worth slightly more than the first urn. I think so. Like, you're getting a good trade and you're getting macro off of it as well as FPS Lounge. So if they just gave it up, obviously with hindsight Harry, they would be in a better position. But still, we'll see.
Yeah, or like just look to deny souls or something, right? Like the full, that's about as bad as it gets. Like they got what, 5 for 1 or something like that in the kill score in that fight. So maybe 6 for 1 because I think everyone died in FPS Lounge at least at one point or another.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And we'll see if they can recover here. The door shenanigans have been really awesome to see so far. You can clearly see the utility of it. Layman's got to be careful though. He's really out there at the moment. He's going to get trapped in the underground. Snake so takes down Dew. And it looks like the positioning battle will be won by FPS Lounge in mid.
Yeah, some key trades there. Ooh, hydration. I don't know if you want the smoke with the Venator, man. But although it's a bit of a deep chase for Venator, who's starting to get low, knows that the spawners are going to be coming into that. There's a slowing hex, but grabbed by Ivy, pulled away from trouble. Great save by Scout onto the carry.
Okay, a lot of pressure on the right side of the map here. Cleaning up some of the opponent's jungle. Really nice to be able to do this. At the same time, Left is still holding on to that left side Guardian by himself.
If they rob doubles, it's just brutal. Yeah, and for Mina, I mean, she's kind of out in enemy territory here. Still has the wave by her side, so she's not going to be too scared, but she does not have any kind of walker in this lane to protect her if she tries to fall back. And Leffa knows it, is absolutely going to run at her, just send her packing. And I don't think you can really get this chase down on Infernus, but she actually is going to try and peel back in and maybe look for something, but I think there's just too much evasiveness from Mina. I think she's just taking you on a wild goose chase. Ido wants to be able to pick up the tower for himself, but Leffa just won't allow it.
Yeah, Hydration's coming on the Dynamo, so a little bit more threat there as well. If you get stunned, you're in a lot of trouble. The speed buff is kind of nice pickup. In the meantime, Snakes finds a battle against Dew here. A lot of pressure. Melee Crews, they want this Guardian. There's still 2 Guardians up. It's 15 minutes here, Jade.
Oh my god, the doorman needs to close this door. There's players coming through it. Snakes can't quite get the heal off and stay alive into that one. Now Saya's turn to utilize the door. Both teams using the door. Just stepping in and out through the map. Eventually, though, the owner is chased down. Dew trying to get a big trade-off in here. Has a concussive, or rather the Shadow Transform to dodge that concussive combustion. And another strong team fight for the Melee Creeps, right? Sharing the pressure pretty equally, but 3 for nothing on the kill trade. Well, as I say that, hold on, 3 for something. John does go down, and maybe more to follow with Erebus finding these hooks.
And right now, they definitely need to convert the Walker, I think. They're going to give up the urn. So you'd want to get the Walker in return. They're going to lose the Guardian left side as well, Melee Creeps. But yeah, they're going to clean up this right side Walker. They can get mid lane priority as well. So overall on the macro, once again, we're in a similar situation where, okay, they lose the urn, but they're going to have that macro edge from picking up these big objectives and from having the extra map control as well. Opportunity to clean up some of the opponent's farm like we're seeing as well.
Yeah, it's always nice. Deny the soul there from Ido, but I think Lomane is going to be able to claim that Sinner's last hit and the buffs that come with it. Snakes wants to sit around here and defend his own doubles. Mina wants to put some harassment damage in, but the Billy is quite the hard target.
A lot of the players here from Melee Creeps in the enemy jungle, they're going to fall out now. But, this is the important part. Protecting your own doubles is really, really, really key.
I will say the doorman is so sick for like contesting and stealing enemy doubles when you just have a door that takes you out to a totally safe area like Walker.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, good hook coming through from Erebus. The save, though, that's why you pick up. Oh my god! No way! You're not getting out of here. That's crazy.
That is a wild hook from Erebus. We need to check that out on the replay. I thought, he is for sure saved. Scout pulled him out. And Erebus with the hook. It's actually going to lead them straight into a mid-boss. They know, hey, no Shadow Transform. Hydration sitting on the Singularity. It's time to go for it.
This was done to them in game 1. Now they do it to Melee Creeps. for the fast mid boss, but the contest is going to be coming in. Not a lot of ults here. Nox Nostra may be available for melee creeps. Chain Gang coming on through. There are the Rejuvenators captured by FPS Lounge. All 3 of them. And now the fight coming in. Melee creeps, they're going to be at disadvantage. They lose Fish Cake early on. And there's the cart taking Ivy for a ride. And this is just generally a very sketchy fight now for FPS Lounge. A lot of very low players. Erebus on 1. And oh my god, that's so scary. There is a Venator ulting down below.
It looks like Lowman's going to get out. If you could just get away. Singularity looks like onto 3. Big catch here from Hydration, trying to turn this fight around. They lose 1 rejuve, but still more players left to fight this. FPS Lounge, no rejuves left. The other 3 players are pretty low into this one. Not an easy fight. Melee creeps want to try and get more out of this, but maybe they sense that's all they're going to find. To try to back out now before the chase can come in. FPS Lounge maybe feeling okay with this, but they're actually still looking out on the map despite being low on a few key players. They're willing to take this fight, recognizing, hey, without some of these key ultimates, melee creeps just cannot trade.
Yeah, I think that was such a great call from melee creeps. They made the call really quickly to just cut. Okay, we got 3 rejuves. As soon as they got that third rejuve down, they insta-cut and run. However, you know, even still, they do lose 1 player on that run due to going down. But, I mean, really good effort from melee creeps. Being able to convert against 3 rejuve crystals for 1 death is honestly impeccable.
You got to feel like that's just about best case scenario, right? You give up a full mid boss, and in the end, all you've really lost is what, 1 death. That does not feel bad at all. Could have been way worse in this situation. Nicely navigated, showing different ways you can respond to the mid boss takes. Erebus, though, with these hooks, man, is really feeling deadly. Like, it still feels like there's this massive threat on the map anytime you come out and look for a play. They're gonna try and take the fight now to the enemy. Melee creeps trying to send in first. Quantum pulls people together. The Chain Gang as well starts this fight, but Silver has her ult off, and the engagement doesn't look great for FPS Lounge just yet. Billy, caught with the slowing hex, needs to just run for the hills.
Yeah, and Sire's going to be getting in there, finally not getting absolutely focused into hell, and it's going to be instead just everyone from FPS Lounge that's on the run. Hydration really low at this point. Sire's still a really big problem, and John's done a great job in these fights to stay very healthy. And they are just sending FPS Lounge packing right now. 4 players left alive for FPS Lounge as they try to back away from this one. Both bridge buffs are up as a reward, as is the urn, but coming straight back, it's low main. I mean, with that really sneaky doorman pick in 12th position, he is having massive impact. And in this fight, it's no different either. Door coming on up again.
Let's go yellow.
And Jake, it's going to be melee creeps with the urn, but I mean, that fight looks better for them initially, but it
he might
got
snatch
turned
it
around.
He doesn't have the doormate ulti, but he could definitely melee the Yam here and get it out of her hands. There's more players coming in. They're trying to chase this one down. At the same time, Rokane putting on pressure in the mid lane, putting melee creeps to a choice too. Has popped an ulti. It's going to keep him alive for a moment. Erebus trying to finish that kill. Now Mina's out here all on her lonesome, hooked in, slowing hex, caught, surrounded. Ido thought he could turn things around and punish Erebus for coming through the door, but the support was there. Now here comes John doubling down on this commitment. Somebody's got to shut down this Bebop. Says, why not him? But he's not really able to play into this fight. He is getting swarmed. They're trying to just run out, but they cannot. This has gone from bad to worse. FPS Lounge playing off the doorman, the Bebop to perfection.
Yeah, this is looking stunning from them, and there's still a chase across the map for the urn. Sire, I mean, they've lost a bunch of players. It would just, you know, make up for it in some small part if they could somehow get control, but they have no map control. Everything is amber on the map at the moment. All the lanes fully in control by FPS Lounge, and the bridge buff will be taken as well. The caster buff, that's going to go to low main. I mean, he's earned it. And so much of the map as well. You can see in the soul difference chart there that the amount of soul advantage is swollen at this point in favor of FPS Lounge.
They're going for the Billy kill, though. They've kind of looks like they've caught him alone. Nox Nostra committed. I mean, it's just okay. That is way too close, man. That is a clencher for Ido. Bebop hook coming right through the cloud of bats.
Billy's missing.
Here we go again. Urn is being couriered across the map. It does require a signature upon delivery. We'll see what's going to happen there. You got Lefa actually caught out by himself, occupying 3 players. Lefa is getting swarmed.
He's stunning them. Is he going to be able to dash out of this one? No, he does get caught. So good catch here. Good collapse from melee creeps. Urn, though, is snatched away. Oh, but Venator gets hooked for coming for the melee. Dare test the Bebop. They're still holding on to this urn in a crucial spot, but Erebus just farming hooks the Singularity on a 3. Is the damage fold gonna be there? Doesn't seem to be quite enough just yet, but there's players doubling down into this fight. FPS Lounge without Leffa, still trying to get this one done. Melee Creeps trying to battle back, but without their main carry in John.
And right now, Erebus is like, where is everyone? Everyone's just disappeared from this fight. And, you know, for Melee Creeps, for the most part, they've fallen back into their base. And indeed, this urn, the Great Steal, they've managed to actually make it happen. I mean, how many kills have been exchanged for this urn across the entirety of the Cursed Apple, as finally Snakes is the one to cap it.
Oof, that is those like turnaround blind 180 hook on that threshold, and then of course with Dynamo behind. Like, the Dynamo first pick has felt justified. Remember, Hydration is also one of the OG NA Dynamo players. I kind of think Hydration might be the best Dynamo right now. Like, it feels like he's patient on the singularities, but he always finds the moment. I mean, I think he's fine, what,
we gave him the crown last week. He definitely has it right
and
now.
Like, he always gets like a 3-man, which I feel like almost isn't even necessary. Like, hey, if you get 1 or 2 with singularity, like, I'm happy with that. You know what I mean? As long as you don't just die and get no value out of it. Speaking of getting value, by the way, Lomane has also had quite the game on Doorman. Like, I'm kind of curious to see what he's going to... Looks like he's saving for, I assume, the luggage cart max? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe next door? I don't know what the build is on this hero, considering nobody plays it.
Yeah. It's been a while. I mean, the luggage cart max, I think you get like a much more sizable stun, I think, right? I can't... That's the thing, like, I can't remember.
It's like a wall stun? Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's been changed. Hold on, Hydration. Caught. Gank doesn't have the Quantum. Doesn't have Singularity either. Getting swarmed. Melee Creeps was hiding for this, setting up for the play. Now a Baroness here. Hits on the Yamato. See if she comes out of this one. Doesn't quite have that Shadow Transform, actually, so could be targeted. And there's a Walker right behind you here, so it's not a great spot to be hanging out. And for all that, in the end, it's just a 1-for-1. And Melee Creeps trying to escape now. Mina just running for it. A couple players not here, though. So for Melee Creeps, I guess they are farming a little bit more efficiently. The FPS Lounge wants to punish them for that.
And this is not a good look here. Using the Killing Blow to try to escape. This is rough. Oh, it takes every little bit of Shiv tech to get out of that one. Nian comes up again. I feel like it just got turned in.
Yeah, man, it's some wild fights for the Urn, and both these teams seem pretty evenly matched. The Walker advantage is pretty real, though, for FPS Lounge, right? The fact that they have a Walker behind them in that fight makes their position just so much more effective. Kind of a tricky hiding play, right? Like, it just doesn't work as well when the enemy has a defensive location they can back out to.
Yeah, right now, you know, the Urn's being carried across, and I mean, it's still a pretty... the deficit is real, but it's not too crazy yet for Melee Creeps. They are a serious threat in these fights, and we'll have the Urn now. I don't see it being stopped at this point. We'll see what Melee Creeps decide to do. Do they drop into mid-boss like we've seen them do before? But there's the connection. Flying Strike. Oh, but into the hook. Into the middle of everything there. Good burst damage, though, onto Erebus. If they can deal with Erebus quickly, that would be excellent. And they are charging him down. They're swarming down to Erebus. This will be the pick of all picks to find, and they get it.
And they get it, and it's relatively clean. The rest of the team is still super healthy on this one. Would be surprised if Melee Creeps don't just kind of rip it in for a mid-boss now. Leffa doing his best to pull some attention onto himself, wants to bait a bit of an ill-advised chase. No warp stone available on him, has to be a little bit cautious. With another flame dash coming up, though, he's gonna go back in, man. Just no respect, no fear being given. He knows that, hey, back off for a moment, it will be a mid-boss, as it looks like Melee Creeps are considering forcing that objective.
This is really tenuous stuff here.
Let's take out Shiv.
Okay, it's crazy to go for the mid-boss right now. Oh, you got a player dead, guys. What is going on? FPS Lounge. Gonna put some damage down on the mid-boss, maybe baiting some players into a fight. Actually, they're finding Saya. Just a bait here. Unstoppable came out from Dynamo. Fortunately, had to deploy that just to survive, so Saya getting back to base, able to reset. There's a big wave crashing on Shrine as well, so basically even into this fight, Erebus is gonna be up soon.
Yeah, it's a 23k advantage, but like you say, they're down a play. You gotta be cautious on this one. Left just trying to get some information, making sure that the opponents aren't down here as well. Is he going to try to make it raw and try to go for a bait? I mean, that would be just so wild. Obviously, let's not forget, some of the best bait setups possible are with the Doorman. We haven't seen it for a while, but just let's not forget that.
Yeah, your ability to play out of the pit is much more significant. They're just going to use the door, it looks like, inside of the pit to give them better position to get out of the actual mid-boss pit itself. Nox Nostra trying to silence players. Concussive Combustion also delaying players. A little bit of a late ultimate from Yamato. She's not there in time to parry. The Singularity on the 2 slows things down, and with triple rejuve in the pocket for FPS Lounge, they're swarming over the melee creeps. Do already down. A hook onto Scout as they're looking for more. Shiv starting to burn down. Erebus cleans up that kill, and it seems that FPS Lounge might be able to live this pit relatively clean. Melee Creep's just trying to take whatever they can away, wants to find some kind of kills into this team fight. They haven't found anything yet, Dan, and it doesn't look like they will. It's only Saya standing, and even he just has to run for it.
Yeah, absolutely wild. Oh man, they're so far ahead now.
It's a team wipe. Team wipe plus triple rejuve, that could be the game.
So Erebus has Spellslinger right now as well, which is like a really nice power spike on the Bebop, as you well know as well, Jake.
Oh, yes, brother. Oh, yes.
And I just want to point out something else. If you go to Bebop's perspective very quickly, I wanted to check out how many green items he has against how massive his HP pool is. Because he doesn't have that many green items, but has like 500 health. And I feel like that I don't understand how it works.
I mean, Bebop has a huge health pool. I think it's because you have a giant hitbox. So I'm just going to do some Bebop balance defending preemptively in case the devs are watching. But certainly a good game for Erebus. Once you have Spellslinger, man, the raw gun damage, absolutely crazy. And they're just going to door their way out of the mid pit here. Erebus looking for a little parting hook through the door. But man, what an exchange in the team fight, right? Like, it feels like everyone in FPS Lounge was on to slivers of HP, and everyone who was low was able to like back out and stay alive. Vamp Burst picked up now. I mean, the Bebop is going to absolutely fry. So easy to keep all your Spellslinger stacks. Oh, oh, he's so lucky. He gets hooked there. He is dead. Almost certainly. The position out of the base is not tenable. Oh no, Shiv has to dispel magic, has to just ulti only to get away for a moment, and even gets caught into the Doorman ulti. FPS Lounge looking for blood, looking for the finish. And they're deciding to turn and focus on the Shiv, but he comes out of this ult. He is going to be in a world of hurt. Gets popped by Erebus. Middle Skin already coming out. Defensive tools need to be deployed just to stay alive. Melee Creeps bleeding out of this game, this series, and the championship. A hook onto Silver, a finish onto Saya. Hydration ensures everyone is healthy and alive, and even Mina just getting deleted out of the sky. Has to Nox Nostra, has to run. Erebus is looking up, trying to hunt for those finishing kills. No hook this time, but there's no one here to defend the patron, Dan.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. FPS Lounge with the most ridiculous comeback on game 2. Send it home for another title back-to-back. Incredible.
Look, Erebus doesn't lose with the Bebop. He just doesn't. He just doesn't. The hooks are too crazy.
MVP.
You might need to be first banning Bebop against this guy. Like, I don't know what else to say, or first pick it. Like, he you know, single-handedly, he warps the game when he is on this character. Like, these hooks he's finding throughout game 3 are just oppressive, right? It feels like every time you try to start a fight, you find yourself hooked. I can see why they go all in and try and kill him that one time, because of just the amount of pressure he's been putting on them.
Choppy putting his cute little hands together. Well done, FPS Lounge. We were worried about you after game 1, but you bounced back in a messy game number 2. A strong finish, and you will wear the crown for back-to-back weeks. And we were talking, what is best for the scene? Would it be better if we had Melee Creeps winning this week and a new winner next week, or if we had someone consistently at the top? I voted I wanted to see FPS Lounge go on a little bit of a run. I didn't think it was going to happen. Now it looks like it could. Talk me through the potential of this team and what you witnessed today. Jake, what was impressive about the team's performance?
I mean, I really think what impresses me the most about this team is the fact that they have been able to keep up with the scene. Like, you got to remember, it's not just that you're, you know, like, for some of these players who have had success formerly on squads like Hydra Nation, that you're able to do the same thing you did then. Winning now is objectively harder than it was then, right? Like, to be able to stay on top and to be able to stay competitive in the scene, by the way. Disgusting hook. I mean, I take back all my analytical answers. This is my answer. This is what is the most impressive.
Yep, the Erebus hooks Silver taken from the sky. Sorry, Ivy, I'm gonna need to borrow this. And then, of course, Yamato's pretty strong. Doors are pretty cool, but not against a Bebop, bro. DK, this character's disgusting. I understand now why you guys have been playing Bebop for 100 games.
Oh yeah, and also, I mean, if you just have good tracking aim, it's just so fun. You just constantly do so much damage.
if you want to get better, is Doorman a character to pick up, or is this going to be like one of those experts only?
Look, the beauty of Deadlock is you play whatever you want to play, man. Like anything you want to get good at, you put the time in, you can get there, right? Like, I think they've just nailed it with that difficult to master but easy to pick up kind of a gameplay loop. If I'm playing Doorman, look, I'm gonna be real with you, I'm just throwing bells at people. Like I ain't doing none of the techs. I'm ulting people and I'm throwing bells. But if you want to become as good as Lone Man, it's gonna take a little bit more grinding.
Yeah, and don't open up a door in the middle of a fight and panic and forget how to like get to your other abilities. It's really embarrassing. In the meantime, learn from the pros like Ro Kane as he drops some serious numbers on the Lady Geist. Those self-heals, the objective damage, but Erebus on the hooks. 19 assists setting up the team fight, setting up some of the big plays around the urns. 37 kills to 23. FPS Lounge, we're on fire. DDK, did you have an official sidekick as we take a look at our track lock stats?
It's really crazy because I feel like there's so many different arguments to make. I kind of feel like some of my arguments lean towards Low Main and Snakes. I think Low Main, obviously Snakes was on Billy like pretty consistently and had really good chain gangs and extremely good pressure and just was very present obviously in so many of the fights and creating space for the team in a way that's, I mean, Billy is pretty hard to play when, you know, you have so many people hammering on you in the way that Snakes had, and he had such a high level of performance throughout. So Snakes is definitely up there for me, and then Low Main as well. Obviously, pulling out the Doorman. I mean, you got to give him something for that. On top of that, though, the Doorman looked extremely good. It was a great answer. You know, throwing the Yamato, just taking people out of the fights with the hotel is great. But the door play as well. Clearly, a lot of work has gone into that, and they use that to great effect as well to create a lot of harass and just really stall out a lot of fights and create just very awkward scenarios for the opponents. And in addition to that, you know, we had the Mina play for me from Low Main in the previous game where they came back, and I think that was also pretty expert. So I don't know, it's a tough one, but for me, it's between Snakes and Low Main.
He went from hard carry to support character on the other side. I feel like Billy is the Cam Scatabo of Deadlock. He doesn't have all of the brain cells. He hits his head a lot, but he's a good time to hang out with. Always want to be with his party. 37-23, it's a team game, but ultimately we have to crown our Shopify player of the match. This is our sidekick. And Jake, for those who don't know, one more time, Shopify in the sidekick. What is it? How do I use it?
Yeah, so Shopify, guys, I'm sure you've seen that brand like somewhere, whether you're just shopping online or around on the internet. It's just a great set of tools that enable anybody to build a business. They're sponsoring our shows, letting us give bigger prize pools to the players. But of course, their real mission as a company is to help people build businesses online. And their mission is to really communicate to everybody, hey, this can be for everybody. This is not something that you need to have some certain expertise to do. That's why they made Sidekick, right? It's a tool that lets anybody, whatever your expertise may be, you do what you're good at. And Sidekick can handle all of the business aspects, right? Can help you get up to speed, be educated on how the right way to do it all is. And it's all integrated into the Shopify tool set. So really, we're happy to have Shopify as a sponsor. We're happy to be able to give out bigger prize pools, but it's a really great product, right? It's genuinely something that empowers people to be able to do more things and you know, stay true to what they're the best at in their lives. So much love to Shopify. We gotta, of course, crown a sidekick of the match to honor Shoppy's lovely work in this game. And it's gonna be Erebus. I gotta say,
back-to-back weeks, NA champ.
Disgusting performances. This is a hard choice. I think even like you can make an argument for hydration on the Dynamo looking really, really good as well. Like to your point, Dan, there's a lot of great players who could be called the sidekick of the match on this team. But Erebus has 30 KP out of 37 kills. That is crazy. He is involved on almost every meaningful fight of the game, and he is making decisive plays. Like it feels like things start and end with his bebop and his ability to open fights and close them down as well with hooks, with the raw damage he's able to put out too. I mean, we're stretching the definition of sidekick of the match because this guy, he's kind of doing some of the carrying himself.
Can you keep this graphic up for 2 more seconds? Finishing him down, slowing bullets. We got the headhunter, little enduring speeds, fortified, slowing. Hunter's roll. What's the most important of all my items in this build? Because this seems to be the go-to on the night.
All right.
I think.
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that you can find this build pretty easily in the build, but there's a couple differences. Like one is the slowing hex is not in that build, but obviously, you know, that's like a counter item. That's a type of item you pick up because you're against movement heavy heroes and you want to shut them down. And the one thing he also switched around is usually you get Vampiric Burst first before Spellslinger, but he kind of swapped the order on that. But and also Spirit Resilience also is another optional. But there's all the other items here, like absolute core in this build. I don't know if Jake, if you had some points on this as well.
Yeah, I think some of the key points in the build are definitely once you get, I think Slowing Hex, I would just build it virtually every game. There's maybe some games you get away with not building it, but it's just such an incredibly high value item in the game right now. It just lets you do so much on the map. I think Hunter's Aura is a massive, it's like an item somebody has to buy every game, like on your team. It's just the aura it provides is, it's bullet shred and fire rate reduction on the enemy, and it's tripled when somebody's isolated. So it's insane for getting solo kills on Bebop. It's still really valuable for your whole team as an aura. And then you're talking about like where the build really just sort of pops off. I think Spellslinger is sort of when you know you've made it on Bebop on this build. Once you get the Spellslinger out, your reloads take like half a second and your gun just fries people.
The ultimate Bebop build, Tracklock GG has you covered, and of course, you can become a sidekick of the match with hooks like that. It's a hooker's world. We're just living in it, ladies and gentlemen. The Bebop is the battle warrior of the day, and I don't think this is the last time we're going to see the robot. Is he a cop? Is he a doctor? What's his background? I haven't read books yet.
He's trying to save his wife,
as he
girlfriend?
should. As he should.
I think that's the lore.
Like, it'd be way better if he just like doing laundry. It's just, you know, a bot who got some wrong pieces. Anyway, we'll talk about that with the Lore Lords later. ZP's on the next show, and you should join us every Wednesday at 4 p.m. If you want to witness some amazing action like this, though, you got to tune in for the North American half. Normally, it starts 3 hours later. That's all it should take for 3 maps, North America. 3 hours after 4 would be 7. If you did 3 hours after 7, that would mean we'd wrap by 10 p.m. Instead, we're wrapping at 11:45 p.m. Eastern here on a Wednesday. Thank you very much to everyone in the chat, and a big shout out to the sponsors. Before we go, though, I gotta let the big brains show some love to the people at home, and of course let us know what they're working on in between now and the next show. DDK, what do you think of tonight, and what's in DDK's future?
I'm just gonna keep maximizing the Bebop, dude. I'm just so paranoid it's gonna get the nerf hammer. We know that Yoshi is fast to act off of this show sometimes, so I'm just gonna try to get in as many more games as I can.
Give me like 2 hours. Just let me try that build 1 or 2 times, Yoshi. Jake, what about you?
Just great games on the day. We still have to be able to go back for our team play of the day segment to check out like what was our favorite team fight overall from both regions. So still a little bit more Deadlock action, but just a lot of love to the community. I mean, I think Deadlock Esports is in a great place right now, and I just want to be able to celebrate that. It's awesome to have people all come together here every Wednesday night for that action as we take out Shopify's team play of the day. This was in EU, Leviathan versus Abrahams. Stolen Sinclair ulti there, so much value, but a true symphony of skills. So we're gonna kind of go down into the cams and break this down in a little bit more detail.
I was gonna say, can we do this on 0.2 speed? This is insane.
By the way,
action all at once.
Look how long the rejuves last. All right, rejuves have been up for like what, 3-4 seconds. Wait till the rejuves are out. And this might be Deadlock's shortest lived rejuves. This is like less than 5 seconds of all rejuves gone.
What a crazy combo. The Death Slam into the Rabbit Hex is actually crazy value.
You thought you won, and then you didn't. Back-to-back wipes your teams on its back, and it's a whole new party. FPS Lounge continues into a game 3. They win it, and they keep the NA crown. Over on the EU side of things, Jake, is Dimov going back anytime soon?
Oh, I don't know. I hope not. I hope this is not like just a short-lived fling with the Floormen. I do think Dimov looked amazing today, and I hope the Floormen don't sort of like overcorrect. Like, yeah, they lost to Melee Creeps, but Melee Creeps put FPS Lounge to the absolute test today, right?
Yes.
Like, I think all these top 3 teams in NA, it's honestly like basically a coin flip for any one of them to be able to win. So it's really nice to be the team who's the champion, because that means you get to avoid a challenger match that is genuinely, even for FPS Lounge, not a free win. Like you would need to fight in that spot. So the advantage of being champ, it does mean that you're maybe have a better odds of holding on to things as time goes on. But Melee Creeps showed that is absolutely not enough, right? Like they can and will put you to the test. It was a very winnable map 2 for them, more than winnable even. They might be kicking themselves for losing that one and losing the momentum in the series. But Deadlock just extremely competitive right now. Top teams in both regions kind of constantly changing hands.
Here's a look at the EU graphic, and as you'll see in the last 3 weeks, we had Loki W 2-0. Then it was the Abrams 2-0ing Loki W. Now, the Abrams get 2-0'd by Leviathan, which means that Loki W versus Leviathan will be a 2-0 grand final. week 36. You guys can catch that all next Wednesday. It's kicking off at 4 p.m. In the meantime, here's a priority for this week. If you want to know which heroes to play in your ranked games, this is what the pros think should be in the mix. A lot of Silver, Ven, Mina, Shiv, Infernus bans. On the other side, Bebop got through, and when he did, he found a lot of success. He seems to be my character of the day. Anyone else shining on the screen for you, DDK?
I think just seeing Billy being picked so much, I think is really great. I think some of that's because Abrams was getting the bans as heavily as he did. And so kind of, you're getting way more picks on Billy and Shiv. But that's interesting to see. Obviously, Mirage didn't really get the opportunity to shine it. People, I think, the consensus is still that Mirage, you just can't allow people to play him. So makes sense. And I guess the other thing too, we saw a Pocket today, and we saw a Doorman. So it's like we're kind of eating out here.
And we saw terrible Apollo play and great Apollo play in the last 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Don't write off the little fencer. He's tiny.
Oh my! Resto Locket
Restorative
on
Locket
top
is going to be removed, very much like the Veil Walker and other items in the past. In the meantime, put it on your character in game. And how does it work? Once again, guys, I just pick Apollo, I hit all of his buttons as fast as I can, and then later I unlock it to heal myself.
If the enemy team presses lots of skills, you buy the item, and when they use all their skills, you can press the button to heal and get stam. So it's little boost heal, little
use
extra
it
stam.
against Apollo. Got
Exactly. I think it's really interesting that 3 of the best survivability active green items, Restorative Locket, Dispel Magic, and Warpstone, are all in the top 10 this week. So I mean, it seems like teams are really putting a lot of importance on these sort of playmaking items that let you get in, take a risk, go for a play, and actually potentially survive and come out the other side. Those are really seem to be meta-defining items in this current spot.
And I know I ignored items for the first 5 hours I was playing Deadlock. If you guys are now at that point where you're like, maybe I should start thinking about what makes my character better, Monster Rounds is the one thing that is going to make your game so much easier. You freaking noobs.
That's just good
Put
advice.
on Monster Rounds and you won't get killed by the Guardian. That's going to do it for us here on episode 35. Shout out to the EU legends and the NA Kings, DDK, Jake on the mic, and all the incredible humans behind the scenes. I'm Chris Puckett. We'll see you next week.